Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ariel Helwani Show!
Back in your life on this Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. Hello again, everyone. I sure hope you're doing well. It's great to be here on a Tuesday. It's a lovely spring Tuesday in New York City. I'm just fixing my chair over here. Back on a 2-2-2-2 Tuesday. We play 2 on Tuesdays. We have the Ariel Helwani Show on the DAZN Boxing YouTube channel coming up at 5 on the road to Ben Eubank. Will I be there? Will I not? Do I have a big thing potentially in the works for Saturday? Maybe, but I'm not ready to talk about it. I said 24-48 yesterday. 24-48. That still gives me another 24. All right, so stay tuned. Now, feeling, I don't know, a little down on this Tuesday. Tough loss by our New York Knicks yesterday. Tough game 2. Not showing the fight, not showing the grit, not showing the gusto, not showing the panache that we need. Detroit just kind of out-muscling them, out-toughing them, if that's a word. It's a little concerning.
It's tough.
I'm fearing, if I'm being honest, I'm fearing a first-round exit. At the moment, the vibes aren't great. They were once immaculate. They are not great at the moment. So let's see. Game 3 on Thursday. Forrest did get the big win over Spurs. You were following along with all of us. The breaking news, the goals, the disallowed goals, all that stuff and more. Habs lost in the playoffs. So a mixed bag as far as my sports teams are concerned. But you don't care about all of that. You care about today's program. And today's program is a juicy one, my friends, because back into the show, we'll be joined by Marlon Vera. He was supposed to fight next weekend in Des Moines. Now he's fighting on June 7th in Newark, New Jersey. What's going on with Marlon? He's doing a lot of fun things. Is this a do-or-die fight for him against Mario Bautista? Why did the fight get moved? He's lost his last 2 in a row. One of my favorites to talk to. He's a great guy. He's the pride of Ecuador, and he'll join us back into the show. Now, we have also promoted a mystery guest, not because I'm trying to be coy, not because I'm trying to play games. It's because this guest sometimes isn't the most reliable, and so while they've told us they're in, I have my doubts. And so it's kind of my way of saying, like, there is a guest, but I don't, as you know, I hate announcing guests and then they don't show up. And then people are like, and it also just happened yesterday with Juliana. Obviously, it wasn't her fault. It was a freak thing that happened at the 11th hour, right before she was about to join, like literally minutes before she was about to join. Point is, there's another guest. Stay tuned. It will be worth it. But I'd rather just not deal with the anxiety of will hear, won't hear. So I just say mystery guest. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. Now, prior to all of that, very excited to be joined by Lex Luger, the total package, the narcissist, the freaking All-American, the former WCW champion, the now WWE Hall of Famer, who has been through hell and back, has seemingly survived it all, and is enjoying a great period in his life. He was essentially diagnosed as a quadriplegic not that long ago, and well, actually over a decade ago now, and has recently linked up with the great, the inspirational, the motivational, the salt of the earth, Diamond Dallas Page, who is determined to get him back on his feet, who has done that. If you saw the induction speech on Friday, he stood up while speaking to the crowd, which was incredible and somewhat unfathomable not that long ago. And so he's doing great stuff with DDP. In light of the induction, in light of everything going on in his life, we're going to have Diamond Dallas Page, the other DDP, the original DDP, and Lex Luger at the same time at 2 o'clock. And I'm really excited about that because there was some questions about, you know, would he show up? Would he not? Then he wasn't at WrestleMania Saturday when they brought out all the other Hall of Famers. So a lot to get into with those fine gentlemen, and I'm very excited to do so. Speaking of WrestleMania, and there's a lot to discuss in the first hour of the program. I'll have an update on International Fight Week. I'll have an update on Jones-Aspinall. because my friend Chael P has talked about that as well. We have much to discuss, so buckle up, my friends, and please come join us for the next few hours. Now, yesterday, WWE officially announced that WrestleMania 41 is their most successful event ever. Now, this is a bit of a trend. I know people hate the gate talk, but it is what it is, and it is an indicator of business thriving at the moment. They said that WrestleMania 41 generated the largest gate for any event in WWE history, and the event drew a combined 124,693 fans over the span of 2 nights at Allegiant Stadium. Viewership was up 114% from the record set last year at WrestleMania XL. That's insane, because I thought that had a better build and was a better card on paper. Merchandise was up 45% versus the previous all-time high of last year, making it the highest grossing event of all time as well. Additionally, e-commerce sales were up 86% versus last year's record. A record 28 total partners signed up for sponsorship deals. Some would argue a little too many. The ring is starting to look like the UFC octagon. This doesn't bother me. Everything else is like this. The NHL is like this. The NBA is like this. MLB is like this. Boxing is like this. UFC is like this. It doesn't bother me, but I do know that it is jarring for the old school fans and for the purists. And so when they see logos on the turnbuckle, when they see logos on the mat, they get upset about these things. It ain't going away. It definitely ain't going away. And then they talked about the social and all this stuff. Anyway, a very successful weekend, few days for WWE. They also announced yesterday that Survivor Series in November is going to take place at Petco Park in San Diego, which is pretty damn cool. That's outdoors. I like that. In November, San Diego in November, outdoors. I think that's cool. What's the weather? 60s, 70s? San Diego's beautiful. I always kind of dreamed back in the day when I was a kid. I dreamed of living in San Diego or Seattle. I thought those would be two great choices. Different weather patterns, but I thought...
Both great choices.
Nice life over there, yeah.
Why those places specifically?
I don't know. There was something about... I think it was the baseball teams. I like their logos. But like everyone seems very happy in San Diego. The beach.
The happiest people.
It is a quite beautiful place.
And then Seattle was just cool in the 90s. The Sonics, Nirvana... Sean Kemp,
shout out to legends. Come on.
Gary Payton. You know, the logo was cool. I like the old logo, the Sonics one. And then the new one was still pretty cool too. Key Arena. I don't know. It just seemed like a good time. Anyway, maybe we'll go to Petco Park. Also, Petco Park was like the crown jewel of baseball stadiums back in the day. And I think it's still one of the best ones. I've never been there. Anyone ever been to Petco Park?
Never been to San Diego.
Never been to San Diego?
I'd love to go.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Pizzi, surely you've been to San Diego.
No, I haven't, Ariel. Just Vegas and New York.
Those are the only two American cities you've ever been to?
Well, we had to emergency land in Philadelphia once. Did that for a little bit. Had some, got some food in an airport in North Carolina. That was very nice.
You've never been to LA?
No. Could you imagine the impact that had on LA though?
Yeah, I know.
I've been invited so many times by all my celebrity friends, but just haven't been able to do it, unfortunately.
And
you know what's funny, Aaron?
I
know, it's crazy. You know, I always dreamed of living in Blanchardstown, and here I am doing that right now. So if this conversation did anything, it's reminded me that I'm living the dream, Ariel. Thank you.
Hey, boss, I've been to San Diego.
Oh, cool. How was it?
You know, it was great. The fish tacos, especially.
It sounded so genuine. It was tremendous.
Some great fights in San Diego.
Oh, that got me good. Cool.
Paul Daly, Nick Diaz back in the day happened in San Diego. That was
it was called the Shark Tank, right? Wasn't that the...
Nah, that's San Jose.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
San Jose Sharks. Guys,
yes.
I want to talk about Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania in a bit because our resident wrestling expert is taking it all in, GC. I mean, he's got all the takes. If I'm being honest, I did not watch. I was locked in. I was locked in on the Knicks heartbreaker against the Detroit Pistons. They were so close. My son and I, at one point, did a high five, and then we both paused for a minute, and we're like, that was a little too hard, and his hand was so red after like a big shot. I forget whose shot it was, but it was just very frustrating. Anyway, GC has watched it all, and I'm up to speed. It's very easy to follow along these days on social media, but we will get to that a little down the line because I know people get very upset when you talk about pro wrestling. Even though they all freaking reside, they have never been more intertwined. Isn't that crazy? Like, you watch WrestleMania, there's Izzy, there's Marab, there's DC, there's freaking Dana voicing the intro. There's Mark Ratner in the front row. Who else? Tim Simpson, obviously with Izzy, gigantic fan.
Daniel Cormier.
I said that already. There was another guy. There was someone else. Colby Covington got a freaking like jumbotron.
And Boot.
Who else was there? There was someone else. I saw. Are you shitting with me? Not in the mood. Not in the mood, Frank.
I saw DC there.
I'm not in the mood. Joanne Wood was there. There were a lot of MMA luminaries. It has never been more intertwined. Oh, Rhea Ripley was at the Volk fight in Miami. Obviously, they're owned by the same entity, but yet people don't want to, for whatever reason, accept this. Do you think it makes people uncomfortable? Why do you think they don't want to accept it? Why do you think MMA fans get so mad when wrestling creeps into their domain? Why do they get mad? Because this is the thing that they feel like is so real and sacred, and this thing is poisoning it?
No, I don't think it's that deep. I think it's much more like rooted in schoolyard. Yeah, like a little bit of like, you know how like
it's nerdy, it's fake. I'm above this.
When you like a girl when you're young, you bully her and dip her hair in the
sure.
and all that.
Dahlia.
It's a bit.
Dahlia
she was doing that to you.
Yeah.
It's a bit of that. It's a bit of just like, they don't want to admit that there's crossover or that there's elements of it that they like, so they'd rather just be like, I hate wrestling. It's like, okay, bro, like nobody asked you if you like wrestling or not. You don't really have to come out and make that your corner.
I actually watched WrestleMania with one of my dorkiest friends on Saturday night, and the entire time he had to let me know how much he's not into the sport at all, how little he enjoys watching it, and how he just doesn't understand how anyone could watch it.
While watching it.
And after a while, I was like, I got it, man. You can leave whenever you want.
And, okay, why is that? Why do you feel like people are so adamant on letting that be known? Like, if you invited
don't want to be into it. Like, I can't be into it. It's fake. It's childish. It's
there
not
is
cool.
an element of them that is into it, and they do not want to admit that to themselves or to you, and so they project the opposite. I can't believe anybody would like this. It's like, yeah, lots of people.
I get
like
that.
on Saturday, the guy was like, "So this is T-Mobile, yeah?" I was like, "Nah, man, this is Allegiant." And he's like, "Joe Tessitore's here. What is he doing there?" I'm like, "He works for him." He's like, "Pat McAfee." I'm like, "All right, man, you had to have seen some of this, like some of this." He's like, "Oh, RKO." Like my nerdy friends at work always say RKO, and like I just never knew what it meant. I'm just like, come on, dude. Like, you can't be that buried from this stuff.
Do you think, okay, here's my theory. Do you think because like if you invited me to your house to watch Game of Thrones or a Marvel movie, you know, I don't watch it.
Yeah.
But I would just kind of like watch it, suspend disbelief, try to get into it, but not continuously remind you how much I dislike it. It's akin to you inviting me to your house to have a meal and I cook it for you and you really don't like Indian food, but you're like, all right, I'm going to eat it, but I'm going to tell you throughout the meal that I don't really like Indian food because how dare I like Indian food? And is it because I feel, so the reason I say that is those two examples don't happen, right? If you invite someone over to your house and cook them a meal, they don't continuously remind you that they don't like it. If you invite someone over to your house to watch a show, a movie, whatever, even a game, like a baseball game or a football game or a basketball game, the Super Bowl, you aren't continuously reminded by people that you don't like it. But when you do invite people over to watch wrestling, you'll always have that one person that GC is talking about. And my theory is, I don't know if it's right or wrong, it's presented as a real sport, and people, they don't like the idea of potentially being conned, even though they're very open about what it is. In fact, they just announced yesterday that there's going to be a show on Netflix called WWE Unreal, where they're literally taking you inside. Like, what was once so taboo
Never under Vince's watch would this ever happen.
Absolutely. And I love it. We all know what the fuck it is.
So excited.
I saw some like hardcore fans be like, I hate this. This is a massive, massive, massive mistake. What? We know what it is. It's amazing privilege to be able to get any sort of crumb behind the curtain. But I feel like a traditional sports fan will be like, I don't want to be conned by this. You're presenting this as though it is actual, legit sports. And I need to tell you, because when you watch Game of Thrones, when you watch DC Marvel, they're not no one's telling you this is real life. But here in WWE, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, or pro wrestling, they say it's real life, and they can't. I guess they just don't have the ability to suspend disbelief and say, I understand what it is. I'm going to treat it as Game of Thrones, Marvel. But because it's presented in front of a live audience in a sporting arena where you see other actual live, non-scripted sports, they won't allow themselves to cross over and just be like, I'm going to enjoy this for what it is. Essentially, because it's presented as a live, non-scripted sport, even though it is a live, scripted sport, there are just some people who will never, ever, ever sign up for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It makes sense, and I think there's probably some truth to that. I do wonder, though, if to what the point I'm trying to make, I think
You're saying they're closeted.
I think they like it. As your example, right? You're talking about coming over to the dinner. If somebody invited you over to eat Indian food,
and every couple of bites, they were like, that bite wasn't bad. I could see how someone would like this Indian food.
But people don't do that, though, right?
They wouldn't come over.
Never. That's the line that, like, anytime I'm watching it, like Royal Rumble,
It's
or
always
WrestleMania
that.
or someone, it's always like, I guess I could kind of see. Like the kid on Saturday I was with, he was just like, what do you think of the percentage of the audience that actually thinks this is real? Like 50%? I'm like, no, dude, like probably like the kids, and then everyone else is just suspending belief and just like having fun with it.
Right.
Okay, but in that example,
you think there's 30,000 people in that arena that are convinced this is real?
It's
like,
absurd.
Are you stupid,
if
man?
you invited somebody over for Indian food,
Yeah.
and they didn't like Indian food, they would not come over. They would not come over and eat that dinner, right? If you invited somebody over for something else that they didn't enjoy, Game of Thrones, and they don't watch Game of Thrones or wouldn't enjoy Game of Thrones, they will not come over. For wrestling, they're coming. They're always coming and then going, I don't really like this. It's not real. It's all this. Because they actually do like it. They're ashamed of whatever the connotation of whatever they think liking it means, whatever they think a fan of wrestling is. They do not want to be associated with those characteristics, those traits, this and that. So they have to sit there, watch it, semi-like it, and then tell you how much they hated it because they don't want them to, whatever assumptions they make about a wrestling fan, to project onto them. And I say this as somebody who doesn't consume wrestling that much.
Yeah, I know. Here I am defending
like
wrestling.
we're defending
not
wrestling
even a
as if
fan.
as if we watch wrestling.
And the best part is that like the WWE does not need any of these people. Their business is booming on a level that is.
They're just
hard
fine.
to
Do people
comprehend.
actually like that? Do people actually? Yeah, it's a few $1 billion a year. Yeah, people like it.
It's a weird thing. I just don't understand. I understand not liking it. I just don't understand the constant having to tell people you don't like it.
Yeah.
Oh, I for sure understand not liking it. Like last night during Raw, like once Jey Uso started to yeet like for the 8th time, I was like, all right.
You're good.
Yeah, I was like, I think I'm good. I think wrestling I can go a couple months without.
Yeah, and you go all in for that weekend.
Yeah, all in.
You immerse yourself, and then you could check back in, and that's totally fine. I don't feel, again, we've talked about this in the past, like when people are talking about things I'm not into, I don't feel the need to tell them how much I hate it. Enjoy your entertainment, enjoy your thing, and that's what we view it as. Let me talk about, I don't even know how we got on that tangent. Let's talk about two things that are pertinent right now to MMA fans. Number one, Chael Sonnen yesterday, who I would say, like, if he was a slugger for the Yankees, what do you think he bats in terms of news? I adore Chael. He's one of my closest friends.
0.05.
Is he? It doesn't really work like that. Like it would be like he bats 300, 400.
That's a good batting.
No. I mean, if he was good.
No, he said 0.05. That means he's
That's what I said.
batting.
I know, but like,
Like, literally
5%.
how often is he
He's
right
hitting
on these
5%.
Let's say
1 in 20.
Let's
Yeah,
say
1 in 20, 5%.
Is it really one? Wow.
I would say closer to like maybe 25%, 250.
Below the Mendoza line, as they say. What is the Mendoza
He's
line?
probably closer to right.
Yeah.
The Jessica
Can I just
Mendoza
say, it's amazing when this stuff happens because Chael specifically when this stuff happens, I wake up in the morning and I've got like 4 messages off lads who never talk to me about anything other than when they think a fight's about to break. And I woke up today and I was like, "Where's this coming from? Like, I don't know what you're talking about." Like, "Oh, did you not hear about this and all? It's booked, it's ready to go." And I was like, "What? Where'd you get it?" Every single one of them writes back, "Chael Sonnen."
Yeah.
So it's unbelievable. So whatever he's doing is working in terms of that viewership. I'll tell you that much.
So I do believe that Chael said it's a done deal down to the date, right? Tom Aspinall versus John Jones. That's essentially what he said. My understanding is, am I wrong? Did you guys see the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. My understanding is not quite accurate. Now, here's the thing. Here's what I understand. My understanding is if this fight doesn't come to fruition, if for whatever reason it falls apart and we never get to see John Jones versus Tom Aspinall, the UFC is not to blame. The UFC has, in my opinion, well, excuse me, I'll take that back. The UFC has, based on the conversations that I've had, not in my opinion, but what I'm reading and surmising and what's being told to me is they have made every effort in very good faith to make this fight happen. Now, obviously, when fights don't come to fruition, there's a multitude of reasons as to why fights don't happen. But in my opinion, if this fight doesn't happen, it's not because of the UFC. It's not because of Tom Aspinall as well. I think ultimately who will decide whether or not this fight happens or not is John Jones. Now, that's not some big breaking news, but I say that to say, yes, if John wants the fight to happen today, and I don't mean like the fight to actually be fought today, but like done deal today, it could be a done deal today. It's up to him, and it's always been up to him. Now, for a while, you could have said, all right, they have to meet whatever number, right? That 30 million was thrown out. Whatever that number is, Rogan walked it back. I had heard the same number, whatever. Point is, I believe that the UFC has met all the demands.
Well,
in a very favorable way for both guys. They both have demands. We know what Tom wants to a degree, and we know what John wants to a degree. I think ultimately it's on him. Now, we don't need to get into the whole like, at what point do they need to pull the plug on this, and when's the deadline? We've done that song and dance a bunch of times, and I'm kind of tired of it. Like they'll do it when they need to do it. They'll do it when they want to do it. They'll do it when they need Tom to fight. If John isn't going to be that guy. But I think at this point, there are some people who want to say, hey, the UFC didn't make Jones versus Ngannou. The UFC didn't make this big fight. The UFC didn't make that big fight. When the story is written on this fight, if it doesn't come to fruition, I don't think it will be on the UFC. I really think the UFC, based on what I'm hearing and have been told, I really think the UFC has done everything that they could to make it happen. Is the fight a done deal as of right now? No, it's not a done deal as of right now. So I don't know what he's hearing. Could it be a done deal as of today at some point? Could it be a done deal in 30 minutes? Yes. But is it a done deal as of earlier today when I was doing some digging? No. So I don't know if we add that to the 0.05 or the 0.5 that Pizzi said, but I wouldn't celebrate just yet. If you're hoping, if you're praying, if you want to see this fight like everyone does, I think it's a little premature. He may be right in that there's a date earmarked, there's a time frame, there's a want, there's a desire, there's a need to make this happen. He is right about all of that. But to say it's a done deal, to me, is a little bit premature. In fact, so much so that I had heard at one time there was some talk about having the fight in August in New York City at Madison Square Garden. Now, you know that annually they like to go to Madison Square Garden in November. We talked yesterday about how the Madison Square Garden date and venue has really become like the new international fight week, if you will, where they try to bring the biggest and best fights possible, in addition to Miami to a degree. And that's how much they wanted to get this done and put it in the biggest and best venue possible, which of course is Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena, the Mecca. August is rapidly approaching. Not hearing that's the case as of this moment. So the reason I bring this up is after hearing what Chael said, I wanted to see if there was any validity to it. He is right in that there's dates being discussed, there's this and that. it is not accurate that it's 100%, and it would not be fair to the UFC to say that they dropped the ball on this one. Does that make sense? They're trying to make it happen.
It does, and it's very fascinating because it seemed like previously the stalemate was, hey, can the UFC make this happen? And to your point, now the stalemate becomes, can the fighters make this happen? Because that was my operating assumption was always the holding point, the stick-up point is going to be, can the UFC make it happen? If that hurdle's cleared, it becomes a lot more fascinating. And it also gives me more optimism, to be honest.
I would agree in that if they are meeting all the demands, that was the biggest hurdle, right?
Yeah, that feels like the biggest hurdle.
I guess we're going to find out. We know Tom wants this fight.
Yeah,
right?
No doubt.
We know the UFC wants this fight. We're going to find out how much John wants this fight.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. We're going to find out how much John wants this fight. Is there any possibility that John fights again and doesn't fight Tom Aspinall?
No.
Yes.
You think so? I don't think so.
I think it's no as well.
What would the justification be? Who would he fight? Because he's not going to get that. Whatever the demands are, he will not get that price tag to fight somebody other than Tom. And so
agree.
I don't know what you come back for if it's
But
not.
obviously, he's not looking for that price tag. If the UFC have offered him that money and he doesn't want the fight, it's nothing to have to do with that.
Yeah, but why would he
But
come
then
back
he's
and
coming
fight
back
someone
for a
else
lesser?
for even less?
Yeah, I think it's a possibility. Definitely, I think there is a way that happens.
Who do you think would get him excited?
who would
Sergey
come back
Spivak?
I don't know. I just think every fighter is going to fight again. You know what I mean? They find a way. Anthony Smith yesterday in his interview, I'll take a boxing fight, to say like if he doesn't fight Aspinall now, he will never fight again.
Oh, you're talking non-UFC. You're talking,
I'm talking.
like any.
Is there like? Well, the question was, is he going to fight someone else?
Okay, that's fair. I mean, he's not going to fight now in the UFC anybody other than Tom. That I don't see.
You know, if he does fight again and it's not against Tom, what a freaking victory for Tom Aspinall, right?
It's not bad.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, it
yeah,
is.
the ducking allegations will.
Now, here's the
Only
thing.
get louder.
Here's the thing. Ultimately, that's great. It's great for his street cred. It's great for his brand. He can't take that and deposit it in the bank. Beating John Jones, fighting John Jones, and then beating John Jones would be the greatest thing for his bank account, for his family, obviously for his legacy as well. So that sucks. But if John Jones comes back and doesn't fight him, if for whatever reason they meet all the demands, Tom is in, the UFC is in, they've done everything possible to make this a reality. Dana has all but guaranteed that the fight would happen in 2025, and it doesn't happen, and he comes back and fights anyone else, even if it's an absolute killer. Who that person is, I don't know. Jelton Almeida, Sergey Spivak, Volkov, fucking Rosenstrike, Pereira, Ankalaev, whoever. It's a massive victory for Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall can essentially say, this guy did not want to fight me.
Not only is it a massive victory for Aspinall, I do believe that would hurt John Jones's legacy in a way that when we were talking about this, the question was raised, and we've talked about this at numerous points, but there was a point where the question was raised, if John Jones never comes back and doesn't fight Aspinall, does it hurt his legacy? And I remain on the corner that it does not. I think John does not need this fight. I think John's legacy is so firmly established, he could be fine walking away. But if it comes to light that everything was met, the demands were met, the fight was there, Tom was willing, anytime, any place, and he was not a willing participant, that I do think hurts his legacy, and that I do think hurts past fights that did not happen, right? Now you start to question what materialized in the Francis Ngannou and John Jones negotiation. You start to open Pandora's box to the idea of maybe John Jones was potentially a sticking point in other things. If he remains on the sidelines, I don't think his legacy will be harmed, because that is, hey, I just didn't want to fight anymore and I walked away. Tom was great, but it was not my time to have that fight. If he fights somebody else, that is no longer subject to that preservation.
The rules are different today than they are in 5-6 years. What I mean by that is in 5-6 years, all of this may just be a footnote because he had such a long career and such an esteemed career, such a successful career. But I would argue that both scenarios will hurt his legacy today. Because if Tom Aspinall was a 40-year-old former champion and he's getting top dollar to fight him, I'm pretty sure he takes that fight. He gave us no indication back in November that he was done fighting. Did he even hint at it? Did he even say like this might be it for me? I don't remember that.
He was kind of riding the fence all week, but to your point,
In
like
the lead up, yeah.
the last thing he said was like, "Pay me and I'll fight." That was ultimately what he ended up at. And so if what you're saying is the pay me part has been settled, now there's only one direction to look. You know, it makes it very clear.
There's no doubt. John Jones doesn't need Tom Aspinall. He doesn't need to beat Tom Aspinall in order to secure his legacy. That could be true, and it is true, but it could also be true that him walking away from this fight, not accepting this fight, is a bit of a sting on his legacy. It's a bit of a little bit of I don't know, some sort of demarcation, and it's a massive victory for Tom Aspinall. It's an unofficial moral victory for Tom Aspinall, because I do believe if Tom wasn't this young, wasn't this good, wasn't this dangerous, wasn't the kind of guy whose fights only last a minute or two and doesn't give you a lot to game plan, which we know John loves, more power to him. I think John takes this fight. For the money that's being discussed, I think John takes this fight.
I have long carried water for John Jones, no secret, and proclaimed that he's the best. I've also proclaimed Tom Aspinall is a massive risk to John Jones. Tom Aspinall is as good as advertised in my mind. I think he is extremely dangerous. I think he's as dangerous to John Jones as anybody who's ever been around. And so to take that risk, you need to be compensated fairly. If John Jones has given out a number that he felt was fair compensation and that number was met, and then you don't take the fight, that is a different story, right? Because now they're paying you what you have deemed the price tag to take the risk to fight Tom Aspinall. So I get more toward what you're saying. I do think ultimately, even if he just walks away clean, I still feel like his legacy is intact. If he comes back and it's not against Tom, that I think is a real demerit. That's a real stain on the legacy. Truly.
I know Ariel said at the top of this, and I get it, where you're coming from, like, oh, let's not talk about how long, blah, blah, blah. But like this division is on life support. Like right now, the rest of the fights in this division don't make sense. There's a slimmer heavyweight bracket there than ever before. And we might have like a guy we could potentially see becoming one of the greatest heavyweights ever. We have him waiting, and he's lost a year of his career already. Like, I mean, you have to shit or get off the pot here. You're either going to make the fight or you're not. If they've given him this money and said, this is what you wanted, and he doesn't want it, what are we waiting for at this stage? You know, like we're endlessly talking about this since December last year. I mean, to move the conversation on, you have to do one of two things: make the fight or make a decision on if Jones is the heavyweight champion.
You're right. You're 100%. I mean, by the way, could you imagine being Tom Aspinall right now?
But like if you think Tom is annoyed about this, I think he's been really patient. Andy Aspinall, like he's all about competition. He's the one that's saying, I don't care if it's Jones. We have the heavyweight champion here. Can we put the belt on him, please? Like I want this guy to keep fighting. He is saying, like, look, he goes in there and he knocks these lads out in a few minutes. Like he wants him to compete as much as possible, because this is a very small window when you have a prime guy. And I know Aspinall's a very young heavyweight, and we're very lucky that he could have, a decade left in the sport if previous heavyweight champions are anything to go by. But this division, honestly, when the heavyweights fight now, nothing makes sense because there is no closure at the top of the division. We have no idea what they are fighting for. Who could name off the top of their head the next highest ranked heavyweight? You know what I mean? Like it's not a conversation anyone's having. So they're basically letting the division wither away, waiting for a fight now that we think can't happen. So it's time to make a decision.
I agree. I mean, I think we all kind of thought like by the summer, so maybe there's a couple of months left. I just can't imagine a guy his age, his skill set, the role that he's on, prime of his career, just getting better, coming into his own, and waking up every day and not knowing what you're training for. Not knowing if you're getting the fight of your life, the biggest fight of your career, or
another interim title defense,
or a vacant title fight against someone who is like 100 steps below John Jones in terms of fame, notoriety, all that stuff. That's got to be a mind freaking F, right?
And to your point, Pete, about the heavyweight division, if Tom Aspinall were able to beat John Jones, even forget the challengers that would come then you have this defending champion who his popularity will explode if he's able to beat John Jones. And if he's able to finish him from past results, he will become this guy that's just like the Terminator in the heavyweight division. And he will draw so many eyes each time he fights because people want to see a quick finish from the baddest man on the planet being the UFC heavyweight champion.
Yeah, I agree. And look, it's devaluing the rest of the contenders in the division at the moment because we don't know what they're fighting for. There's lads up at the top of that division. They have nowhere else to go but basically wait for this to be sorted out. And the longer they wait, the staler they grow in the fans' minds. And if it gets to a situation where this fight doesn't happen and you have to pair up Tom and Cyril Gane or something like that, there's going to be people having shit fits about it. The longer this goes without being sorted out, it's devaluing the whole heavyweight division.
What's also frustrating about it is you have arguably the best heavyweight in the world, revved and ready to go. You're looking for something for International Fight Week. He's right there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He's right freaking there. And I get
throw
it.
another 10 million on top. Throw another 10 million on top. See what happens.
Hey,
Come on.
could that be the game plan from John Jones? He gets the money
Let's
offer,
go.
and then he's just like, hey, maybe I don't want it. And then they're just like, another $5 million. And he's like, okay, all right, let's do it.
By
It's
the way,
possible.
That's negotiations.
Yeah, could be. Could be just like But
But
The
imagine
master
if Tom,
stroke of Jones. Yeah,
Imagine
come
if
on,
it was
the
Johnny.
$30 million,
Well, to
and then
be
he hits
honest-
the SpongeBob. He's like,
To be
I
honest,
don't really feel like it.
I imagine John Jones has been in this position with UFC before, and they probably have not been willing to meet the number in the past. The fact that they are potentially willing to meet the number, to me, tells me, if I'm John Jones, that there's more money in the bank then. That if you can meet this number, that means you're giving
oh
me.
God,
Yeah.
you can't do that, man.
That's
you can't
genius.
Do
Can
that.
I get $30 million? Yeah, you can.
Oh, wait.
Is
what?
Rick John
Yeah.
Jones' manager?
I
would love to be.
I'm at 40 million.
Yeah,
Nobody's been more pro than me.
that's bad business. That's unfair to do that to someone. To say like, okay, what's your number? They meet that number, and then you're like, wait a second, you were willing to give me that?
Happens.
Yeah, I
It
know.
happens.
Yeah, I mean, what if this is his last fight, regardless of outcome? And so he's like, well, better break the bank while we're here.
We need to hear from Jones here. This is the loose end, right?
Oh,
we need to hear
100%.
what the hell's going on with him. Where is he?
When's
at
the
in
next
terms of
dirty
this
boxing card?
negotiation?
Let's send
If-
some intrepid reporter to ask him some questions.
If we were to
I'm
hear
gonna sign
from
up for Power to
Jones,
the Patience.
do you expect he'd say anything, beyond we're negotiations, or who knows?
He
maybe
likes
that-
to play the game. He could be
Yeah.
like, yeah,
He'll be a little coy.
I'm not that interested. I'm not that excited. Who's Tom? He's an asshole. What has he done? He doesn't deserve
Tom the
this.
asshole.
I mean, John is a very compelling guy. The mind games that he plays in the interviews are tremendous, and this sport will be a little less exciting and a little less interesting when he's gone. I know some people at home might be looking at this and be like, "You're hating." I don't know how you can possibly honestly say that. It's all right there for you to decipher on your own. Tom Aspinall wants to fight. He's the interim champion. He's been told repeatedly that's the fight that they're going to make. They aren't making it. It hasn't been announced. The UFC has tried its hardest to make it happen. It's either you want to believe that John is the reason why this fight isn't happening or not. But I can assure you, if you are going to blame Tom, you're wrong. If you're going to blame the UFC on this one, you're wrong. And trust me, there have been times where the UFC is blameworthy. Not in this case. They want to make this happen.
How could any fan look at this conversation and be like, oh, wow, the lads are giving Jones a hard time? The fight is for the fans. We're speaking from the perspective of fans when we're talking about fights that need to happen. That is the fight. So if anything, we're speaking out of a love of this idea of this fight happening, right? Same with Islam and Ilia, same with Hamzat and DDP. Those fights happening is for the betterment of the fan base. It's for something to get the fan base excited. I don't understand that stance at all.
Not only this specific fight happening, because I think we all want to see this fight, right? It's either our 1 or 2 or whatever that list looks like. But the integrity of this sport is important. We've lost the idea of it being a meritocracy. I don't think we'll ever get back to that, right? I don't think number 1 always fights number 2. We will never return to that. But the idea, though, that the fight that fans want to see is something that Dana White says a lot and is often parroted, you have to prove that, and you have to continue to prove that, right? It cannot just be something that you live on and coast on forever and then turn around and those fights are no longer being made. And this is one of those fights that you have the opportunity to prove that and continue to prove that. And it's important that it happens because you need to maintain that integrity. You may not be able to say the best guy fights the best guy every time, but you will be able to continue to say the fights that fans want to see are the fights that we make. And this is one of them, and this needs to get done.
Who's a bigger star in the UFC right now, Khamzat Chimaev or Ilia Topuria?
I'd argue
Ilia
Hamza.
Topuria.
I'd argue Hamza.
Oh, interesting. GC?
I would say Hamzat as well, and I think the only thing that's keeping him from like stamping that is getting the belt.
Can we give the IG breakdown? What's the IG breakdown?
IG breakdown. Let's pull it up.
Yeah, because this is always a good indicator.
Ilia Topuria, 7.2 million followers right now. And if you haven't checked on his Instagram lately, he has updated it to the legend.
Okay, perfect.
Under there. And then Hamzat Chimaev, I know it's more than the 7.2.
Is it really?
9.6
Wow.
million for Hamzat.
I was going to say Ilia. I was going to say Ilia seems to have more of a, I don't know, like
he's more mainstream. He's a mainstream.
Like he's holding a press conference like every 3 days, it seems like, for like a street named after him. And then
these are rare things. Like, I mean, it would be the equivalent of, like, say, like the Real Madrid treatment, him appearing on the Liga TV is the equivalent of like John Jones being wheeled out at the Masters and going like, oh, look, UFC champion. Like these are elite sports situations. Him being brought out on the pitch, all this stuff, the spots that he's in, La Marca, like these are like some of the most prestigious media outlets of all time who usually don't cover MMA are covering this guy. It's very similar to the McGregor situation here 10, 12 years ago when he took off. Everybody wants a piece of him in Europe. But yeah, I think to GC and Rick's point, like, I don't have an into Hamzat's side of things. Like the Middle East, he's huge, and Russia, he's huge. I obviously don't speak the language that I use over there, so obviously I'm just speaking from my own experience, what I'm seeing in publications and the spots he's popping up in.
Yeah, I mean, we also we kind of say it in jest, but like the Instagram followers, but also like on Twitter, everything the guy posts just goes absolutely nuclear. He posts a selfie and says, "Good morning, Dricus Duplessis." 76,000 likes, 7 million views on the tweet. Just like everything that he was posting about like him versus DDP, 42,000 likes, 25,000 likes. A picture of him just lifting a guy up, 21,000 likes. Like everything the dude puts out just goes nuclear. People are salivating for him to fight for the title.
I think Ilia Topuria is certainly better, to your point, PT, at like soaking in the spotlight, right? Like there is no equivalent for Hamza, right? He's not from Spain. There is no huge soccer team for him to associate with. Those things are kind of part and parcel with Ilia Topuria's nationality and things like that. But I imagine if Hamza wanted to do a press conference every week, it would probably be pretty well trafficked and well attended and well listened to.
That's fair.
And so,
worth noting, can I just say, maybe the elephant in the room, one guy has a little bit of baggage, the other one doesn't.
Yeah, there's also certainly that.
True.
And there's also the whole Muslim community and other things like that. There are
just for the record, that ain't the baggage that I'm talking about.
No, I'm saying as a
I didn't think it was.
That wasn't.
Well, he went back and back. You know, they're gonna come for me. They're gonna come for me.
What I'm saying is that contributes to the fandom. That contributes to the people
the Muslim
that are
thing is
supporting
huge. The Muslim community is huge.
worldwide appeal of that. Like Ilia Topuria, he is a big star amongst MMA. He's certainly a big star in Spain, but like globally, like maybe Australia might not have the connection to him. Muslim population around the world is gonna know Hamzat, is gonna be a supporter of his and speak to the things that he's able to do. And so there's different what I think when Connor and I did like who's the stars, is the UFC in a dearth of stars right now, and kind of talking about that conversation. One of the things that I realized is just like stardom isn't quite what it used to be, and like the measurement of stardom is harder than ever before. Like what actually is a star? It was a lot more linear when it was like Conor McGregor is on every television because he's made himself established. I think Ilia is more in that line for sure. But I do think because of the way like people are able to communicate, people are able to follow things, like Hamzat has this fan base that is rabid and massive that like I don't know if Ilia's built quite yet, but he's certainly on his way.
And if Hamzat gets the belt, the way that he got to the title fight, smashing people, like just running through them, his star power is just going to be massive. You're going to start hearing like the real casual fans being excited for a Hamzat Chimaev pay-per-view.
I say this and I bring this up all to say Ilia Topuria has to be on International Fight Week. They got to figure this out, in my opinion. They've got to figure it out.
They can't take two L's here. They can't take two L's here on Ilia, Islam, and come on.
It's got to be the showcase for him. It has to be. They put Conor in that spot. They put Izzy in that spot. They've always tried to put the guy in that spot. Does anyone? Islam versus Ilia to me is very close to Jones versus Aspinall in terms of fight that the world wants to see and that I want to see and that we all want to see.
It's massive.
But Ilia versus Charles ain't that bad. Ultimately, you have Ilia there. I think that Ilia versus Charles Ilia versus Islam is a no-brainer. Ilia versus Charles is bigger than Khamzat versus DDP, is bigger than Khamzat versus Caio Borralho. Do you guys agree?
Definitely the Caio fight.
Yeah.
And more than likely the DDP fight, because when I was going to say, when it comes to star power, the star power drop off from Islam to Charles is not much, man. Like
Right.
it is barely there. DDP to Caio is probably that, and honestly, DDP and Caio is sort of here, whereas Islam and Charles are massive. I mean, you could make the argument that Ilia Topuria, like, is he the B side in either of those fights when it comes to star power? Charles and Islam.
At the moment, I would say yeah.
Yeah.
Like he could be the B side.
His ceiling is limitless. The ceiling is
For sure.
limitless at the moment. Like if he beat Islam, like we don't even like the conversation's over at this point. He's the biggest thing the UFC's got by a country mile. I'd almost like at that point start thinking about like, is he entering McGregor territory? But I do think like right now Charles has more cachet, at least with the fan base. He's just been doing it longer. He's somebody who's been in their lives for that long. And I would not have it above DDP and Khamzat, but I would have it above nearly anything else. I think that's one specific matchup that gets there. But outside of John and Tom, Ilia versus Charles and Ilia versus Islam are as good as you can possibly do.
How do we get to Ilia, Charles?
How do we get to Ilia versus Charles? Basically, we get to Ilia versus Charles if JDM wins.
Okay.
Right? Then I think Islam is gone. Islam has talked about how, the weight cuts have been a little extreme. I personally think there's one fight left for him at 155, and it is Ilia. But you could also offer the excuse of, or the retort, the rebuttal that, hey, like you can keep saying that. There'll be another guy. He really has done it all at 155, especially as of late in terms of defending the title and taking on all comers, including the featherweight champion twice. So, as we said, they're either going to wait till May 10th or they'll say, like, we need a main event. The same way they needed a main event for Miami, they needed a title fight for Miami, they got the belt off of Ilia, they could do the same with Islam.
So does that mean it would be for a vacated title?
Yeah.
I'm into that.
I don't believe for a second here's what I feel is, and maybe I'll regret this one. The next time we see Ilia Topuria fight, it is for an undisputed title.
Okay.
The question is it going to be against Islam for the actual undisputed or the vacant undisputed?
Yeah, the Miami
I agree with
situation.
It's really the Miami situation all over again.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
If the Charles fight is made, the Islam fight is not happening. That's
at least not in the near future.
It's not happening.
Is there any chance
period,
it's for contendership? They just go, you get the next crack at Islam.
Why do we keep doing it? Like, it's just fucking, it's right there. Either do it or don't. It's just these conversations.
I get that,
sits on the sidelines.
This is hinging on Islam's plans. And I think he's earned that, if I'm being honest. I think he has earned the right. This is not John Jones, right? Let's just be clear about Islam. Islam is not somebody who is trying to, like, have a little bit of cake and eat it.
No, that's
He's
fair.
not trying to sit
That's
out.
fair.
He wants to fight, but he wants to potentially take an opportunity at the 170-pound belt. I think he deserves that opportunity. Now, here's where I'd push back. Here's my one issue with the Islam stuff. Fight Bilal, too. Don't give me this bullshit about, like, we trained together one time. Fight Bilal.
One time. Give it to them.
But seriously, because Bilal's going to be in the fucking mix, like, anyway, right? So
Bilal
if he goes
might
and
be
beats
there.
Well, I was just gonna say, and all of Islam's plans hinge on the performance of Bilal Muhammad at UFC 315 next month.
Yeah,
it is a little crazy.
So all of International Fight Week hinges on how Bilal Muhammad performs in Montreal.
Yes,
against Jack Della Maddalena.
By the way,
the MMA world waits
in a fight that wasn't even like the original plan.
Right.
Where have you gone, Shavkat Rahman?
Yeah. In a fight against Jack Della Maddalena, who like entered the fray out of nowhere. And so this idea of like they won't fight each other, I get it. I'm okay with like the respect of this. But like at a certain point, that is the guy that is holding the belt that you want. And so are you going to go get it or not? Or are you just going to forever wait until somebody dethrones Bilal? Like just go fight Bilal. He's not in the gym with you guys. He comes in, he trains. Like we see Caio and Khamzat, they've trained together and they're talking about fighting. They're building something up. Let's just see the fight. If 170-pound gold is what Islam ultimately wants, fight either of them. Fight Jack or fight Bilal.
I'm actually surprised that at no point Dana has said like, Dana gets mad when Merab and Aljo won't entertain the idea of fighting each other, when GSP Rory wouldn't entertain, when when Koscheck and Fitch wouldn't entertain. And a lot of those were just sort of like fictitious, like, what if X, Y, and Z happens, would you entertain? It was never, you need to make a decision. DC, Kane, etc. Make the call.
But those guys were actual teammates. Those guys were actually in the same gym with each other every single training session. Marab and Aljo are in the gym together every single time. And so, maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe Bilal is overtraining with these guys, but like when I see the videos of Islam, Habib, Umar, like he's not there. He's sometimes there, but it seems more like he's popping in the same way somebody would.
This is a quote from last July, right after Bilal got the belt. He said, this is Bilal speaking, "I would never fight Islam Makhachev 100%. And then he said, but honestly, he'd go up to 185 and beat DDP right now." It's like ridiculous.
I wouldn't fight him either.
But Islam said this on fighting Bilal Muhammad. He said, I don't know, brother. We have the same manager. We'll do something. We'll see.
So
it honestly,
not as adamant. Not as adamant.
Who cares about
Bilal is the one
the
that
manager? Who
doesn't
gives a fuck about the manager?
honestly. Like, honestly.
Well,
that should make the fight easy.
Cheeto and Mario Bautista have the same manager, and they're fighting each other. I know it's not the same stakes, but like this happens.
Ian
all
Gary
the
and
time.
Sean Brady have the same manager. They not like each other at all.
The manager thing is ridiculous, but it to me it sounds more like Bilal will not fight Islam.
I wouldn't
as
either.
the opposed.
I'll tell
And
you
in
what, I
fairness to the
wouldn't fight
UFC,
him
Bilal's
either.
like, no, man, just go up to 185.
Yeah.
Beat DDP right now.
I wouldn't fight him either.
Dana White never gave it the, it's 100% or anything like that with Ilia and Islam. I think I've probably, because of my want for both of those fights, I've been kind of putting them in the same basket in that regard until Rick said that there. I mean, you're right. Islam does deserve to have a look at pastures new. I guess he's fought Volkanovski twice. He's kind of thinking, what's it going to do for my legacy beating another featherweight champion? And there's the fact that the UFC, like they did with Tom and John, haven't promised this to us, all those months ago. So I guess it is a different situation. It's a different.
Why can't they call up Islam and say, look, we've got International Fight Week. The same way this came up in the talks leading up to Miami. We've got International Fight Week. You want to headline it against Ilia? Here you go. Here's the big marquee, right? You don't? We need to take that belt away, just like we took Ilia's belt away, and we need to make Ilia versus Charles for the vacant title. Why can't that happen?
It seems like it can.
Ilia gave his belt up.
No, but
they took that belt. Come on. They took that belt.
I guess the argument is that, like, Ilia doesn't care who he fights at 155 as long as it's for the title, whereas there's this belief that Islam refuses to fight against Bilal. And it just all comes down to Montreal next month.
What a marquee event.
Jack Della Maddalena has a chance to like really shake up the entire UFC.
New prediction. We don't get International Fight Week until the night of UFC 315. Dana goes to the
You think so? Piece of paper?
All right, tonight the gate was $22 million. Islam Ilia International Fight Week. Who's got the first question?
Because Bilal wins.
By the way, there's a very good chance that they have told Charles, hey, just prepare for June 28th.
Probably.
If X, Y, and Z happens, you'll be fighting this person. If X, Y, and Z happens, you'll be fighting that person. Hey, Ilia, you're going to be fighting for a belt, but X, Y, and Z happens, you're fighting this guy, X, Y, and Z. And then we officially announce it to the world on May 11th. They'll probably sell the tickets. Again, I feel for the people who, have plane tickets, have hotels, have things of that nature. Hopefully it's one of those where you can cancel it if you're not happy with it a week out as opposed to prepaying the whole thing. But there's a very good chance that happens.
Here's the part.
The reason I say this is there's a very good chance those guys are preparing right now.
Right.
They're just not quite sure who specifically, but they're all they're obviously not the same fighter, but it's not like one's a supreme striker and the other's a supreme grappler, right? Islam, Charles.
Good at everything. Best of luck, lads. Prepare for a random opponent for your world
Islam's gotta be
Go
different.
for it.
I'll say
Mystery
this.
opponent? Just play the music on fight night?
I don't
This
mind
is
that.
Oh, I love that.
I would fucking like that.
This is the part that sucks. I would rather see Charles versus Ilia than I would rather see Islam versus
Yeah, okay, now you lost. I'm
just calling it.
Talking.
I think Islam would walk through Ilia.
Cut the mic, Frank.
Truly.
This is wild.
I don't see Ilia being competitive with Islam, whereas I think Charles is an actual fight. That's my take.
The intrigue.
I have no intrigue on that.
But what if Ilia Topuria?
Yes. Moving up from 145.
Islam will beat him up.
You think he'll kill him?
He's too small.
No.
He's too
When
small.
it gets into deep waters,
but
fourth,
he might
fifth,
not.
he can't make that cut anymore, Rick. What's going to happen then?
I ain't buying it. And I think Charles would be a banger. I think Charles would be a sick
I think they're both
fight.
great fights. But the dude who's on this, what's it, 12 in a row now?
He's getting the Conor. This can be Conor
Islam.
McGregor.
Oh, Islam. Yeah. No. Like 14 or 15. Or...
Conor McGregor.
Right.
What?
Ilya. This could be the Conor McGregor
yeah.
moment. If he just killed 2 featherweight legends to become a legend himself, literally by name, and now he beats Islam. He's in the Conor McGregor conversation in a way that nobody has been since. But I just don't see him beating Islam. That's the problem.
Like
and I think he could beat Charles.
If he,
But I don't. He doesn't become a
flatlines
McGregor by
Islam.
beating Charles.
No. The
No,
Charles
for sure
fight doesn't
not.
get him there.
For sure
The
not.
Charles fight doesn't get him there. The Islam fight gets him there.
I can't believe you said you're more into that fight. It's a
fight.
great.
It's a competitive
It's an
fight.
amazing plan B.
That's a classic.
It's
Rick right there.
amazing plan B. Where one is like
that's
marquee.
textbook, Rick.
What? 145 champ, 155 champ coming
It might
together.
be in the Rick highlight reel.
By the way,
honestly. That's
oh,
incredible.
can I just add? Wait, can I just add? Georgia versus Russia and all that. That's going on. Like,
This is all great build. This is fantastic. Then the fight happens, and then what?
oh my god.
Then the fight happens, and then what?
Volk came
How
up
dare
and was
you doubt
incredibly
the
competitive.
leyenda.
Ilya can also be
Then the
competitive.
fight happens, and then what? Islam, man.
Islam handed a rose at the end. Thank you.
Exactly. Cup of
Oh my
tea.
god. Could you?
You
imagine
thought Islam's gonna be like, oh, you thought this is gonna be it for you. You thought you were Conor. I don't see it. I think Charles is a better fight. That's how I'd position that. I'd rather see it because I think it's a better fight. But I think both of those are box office. Islam just a little bit more. But I think both of those are box office. In fact, I think on Boys in the Back, I was like, would you buy Charles and Ilya as a fight week headliner? And I said, yes, 100% I would. Belt
Oh
or
yeah,
no belt,
I
by the
take
way.
it, but
Belt or
it's the
no
problem.
belt. I don't care.
Yeah, but it's the dangling carrot that
Yeah.
you can't look past. You know.
Yeah.
My opinion.
The good news is, it seems like we'll have a few more days to talk about all of this. So we'll put a pin
Oh, great.
in that discussion for now. Still to come on the show, one of our favorites, Marlon Cheeto Vera. He returns to action in a little over a month right here in the tri-state area, June 7th, UFC 316 on, June 7th. I said that already. At the Prudential Center, the show headlined by the bantamweight title fight, Sugar Sean O'Malley, Merab Dvalishvili, Juliana Pena, Kayla Harrison. So that's still to come and more. But for now, let us turn our attention to our first guest of the day. And this is a massive, massive, massive privilege, a huge, huge honor for us to have these two gentlemen on the program. What a weekend for them. It was on Friday that the WWE held their annual Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It's always a big deal. It's always a staple as far as WrestleMania weekend is concerned, and they do it better than anyone. At this point, it's a well-oiled machine. It's something that people look forward to, and the UFC has some years to catch up to them in terms of getting it just right. And one of the big attractions this past year, of course, was the induction of the total package, Lex Luger. And what a story, what a life he has lived. It has been a roller coaster, to put it mildly. He has been through hell and back, but these days he is thriving in a major way. He has found God. He has found a relationship, a rekindled, a renewed relationship with his longtime friend and colleague, Diamond Dallas Page, when it seemed like he was down and out. When it seemed like he may never walk again, when it seemed like he may never stand again, his relationship and his partnership with the great Diamond Dallas Page, who we've had on the program before to talk about the great things that he has done for so many others, a true salt of the earth mensch, has been amazing to see. They have chronicled this on the DDP Yoga YouTube channel. He has helped turn Lex's life around in so many ways. And there he was on Friday, standing up, delivering a great speech to a sold-out audience, finally accepting his induction into the WWE Hall of Fame. And it was great to see. And so without further ado, let us say hello to the great Diamond Dallas Page, the man who works so many wonders with so many individuals. And we say hello as well to the total package himself, the newest member of the WWE Hall of Fame, the one and only Lex Luger. How great is this? Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate you joining us. You look fantastic. Lex, to you first, congratulations on a massive weekend.
Thank you. Still basking in the afterglow.
Yeah, you look like you are. You got a massive smile on your face.
Yeah. It was fantastic. Great. The way they did this, they really jazzed it up with more of that theater atmosphere, almost like a Heisman Trophy like ceremony. It was like really classy, and was always good, but like you said, they seem to be stepping up here. They even blinged out the rings this year.
Yeah, I got to admit, I'm a little bit jealous.
I'll try to get it on camera. I'll show it off, but yeah, they blinged the rings out. So yeah, Triple H gave me the ring. I go, wow, you guys really jazzed the rings up. He goes, yeah. Now I did a signing the next day. All the guys that are already in looked at my ring and go, man, we kind of got like, wow, we got our rings don't look like that. So it was pretty funny. I was like rubbing it in.
Yeah, it's still great to get that ring, but yours is way blinger.
That's the intrinsic value of it, but yeah, they blinked it out.
Yeah, it didn't look like that in 2017. That's when you went in, Diamond Dallas Page. But congratulations to you, because I think that you are owed that. You were a big part of Lex getting this recognition after all these years. So it was wonderful to see the two of you up there. Can I ask you, Lex, to be back there, to be around, all those big names, to be around your friends, people you've worked with, the new generation and whatnot? I would imagine that was a setting, a scene that you probably thought would never happen. What was it like when you were in the moment, taking it all in? Was it surreal for you? Was it hard to process, considering everything you've been through?
It was. I said in my brief little talk that I shared with everybody that if you'd asked me 20 years prior, I'd never have anything to do with wrestling, let alone be up on stage with all the past and present stars. A WWE and the global juggernaut it's become with the merger with UFC and TKO Endeavor. I mean, it's just a global phenomenon. And to be there, and I hadn't met most of I've interacted some, but most of the new guys, the young talents, I haven't met most of those guys. So it was that made it a really exciting evening. It's the stuff those guys do. Most of us never even dreamed of doing the athleticism with the men and the women. My gosh, right? Sometimes
unbelievable.
The women have the best match of the night sometimes.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Oh my gosh, I mean, they're incredible stuff they're doing. So yeah, to be around the atmosphere of all those athletes present, and then we had Taker there and Stone Cold and Kevin Nash, all our buddies.
Yeah, Bret Hart. Bret Hart was there.
Backstage. Yeah, Bret was there. It was a special night. Dallas can hold the new ring up for you a little bit.
Oh wow, there it is.
Bad boy here.
Oh wow, that is beautiful. Well done.
I love it. It's got the Hall of Fame across the top and the bottom of it. Blinged out with the diamonds and
got your name on the side.
Yeah. Don't mind. I didn't even notice that. They put your name on the side of it.
And the year on the other side.
Oh yeah, the year, and it's beautiful and good inscription in between. It's beautiful. It's I ever since Triple H literally took over with Nick Khan. I mean the storylines. I mean everything seems it was time for that next level, and to see what those guys have done. I enjoyed the hell out of it, because I've been back with those guys for a while, and it's been a lot of fun, and they recognize, what work that Lex and I were doing, and it was really awesome to be there, and it's just something you can't really put into words.
This may be a tough question for you to answer, DDP, but I'm wondering why. I've watched all the videos. I see the way you care for your friends. It wasn't just Lex, Scott Hall as well. May he rest in peace. Jake the Snake Roberts, Butterbean, so many others. Why do you do this? Why do you care so much? Well, and I know that may seem like a callous question, but you don't just do. It doesn't seem to me like you do it for any fame, publicity. You really truly care about these guys, and you could be living a great life and kind of sailing off into the sunset, but you're doing this to help your buddies. Why? Why do you care so much?
Oh, guys, it choked me up a little bit on that one. My wife says I can't help myself. It's like even when, and my business partner, Steve Hughes, set this up for us today. So, everything goes perfectly. We're
what a team.
Yeah, like the best yin and yang you've ever seen together. And we both can be fried. And I mean, fried. And if something comes up like Dory Funk Jr., when Marty, his wife, I literally just got off the phone with her. when she said, "Is there any way that you think Dory could do this?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Give me your number." I said, "I'll tell you what, here's my number. Text me tomorrow," because I always put it on them. Text you tomorrow and let me know if you want to get together. And we said she texted me first thing in the morning, and Dory's like 85, and and at the same time, I also know I can have people like be able to come in and Zoom, like my buddy Josh Nair. He'll be working with Dory. Hey, Steve, you in here? Oh, he's out of here. Okay. And one of my other instructors, Tommy, I always get his name wrong when I say his last name. Let's call him Stratus. He's been working with the Butcher, Abdullah the Butcher. Wow. So when I hear that those guys are actually putting the work in, like I showed up. Eric Bischoff and I just did episode 83 Weeks here at the Performance Center, and I said, we're going to go see Abby. I'm going to surprise him. He's like, You're going to say, I'd love to see that. I go, come on, bro, let's go. And Abby was literally sleeping in the chair, like watching TV, and he was asleep. So I sat down in the chair across from him, and it was, Abby, wake up. He's like, oh, time. Malika, am I dreaming? He's diving down the page here in front of me.
That sounds like Abby.
Yeah, right. And I loved Abby, man. When I first broke in, Abby was very nice. He was just kind to me. And now that I know he's been working with Tommy, he's been working, we're working on getting to lose the weight so he can get his hips replaced and stuff. Both of those guys are 84, by the way. So no one can tell me it's too late to do something. Never too late. Yeah, it's never too late. And, it's just a part of it. And Lex will tell you, I helped get a lot of guys jobs, back in the day when to live their dreams and it makes you feel good. When I was 22 years old, the real bottom line answer to this question is I was listening to Zig Ziglar, and Zig was a big Bible thumper back then. He doesn't speak much now. He's in his 90s, but I heard him say, you can get whatever you want as long as you help enough people get what they want. And man, my whole life's been like that, bro.
I could have a caveat to that if you don't mind.
Please.
In my experience, the time I spent with Dallas has been so special, especially these past 13 months. And I believe you mentioned that I'm a person of faith now, which has totally transformed my life. I know now that God creates everything and everybody. He created us in his image, I believe. But we're all different. We're like a snowflake. No two snowflakes are the same. Imagine the care and the talents and gifts he gives each one of us. I believe God has a plan and purpose for each one of us. He gave Dallas a special gift, a talent, an empathy, a kindness, a passion for helping other people, and mentally, physically, he's relentless with it. He has he's in his sweet spot. I feel what God created him to do, and that's why I think he's had so much unbelievable success with it. It's just who he is. It's definitely I believe a special God-given gift.
Lex, what kind of state were you in? Where was your life at when you reconnected with Dallas 13 months ago?
I was pretty much even the most simple things of brushing my teeth or getting out of the shower was not only difficult but dangerous. Going to the bathroom, the things we all could take for granted. My mobility got to the point where I was pretty much in the chair all the time. And so obviously my quality of life was compromised. I focused on what I could do, what I couldn't do, but I couldn't do much anymore. And when we started, right, Dallas, I couldn't even get out of the car, right?
And you'd seen, and we have video footage of a lot of this stuff that is just from beginning to end, like a 5-minute segment of Lex trying to get out of the car. Like if he needed, if I wasn't there, or you had a flag down a Good Samaritan, right?
Independence, yeah.
He has now, a word called freedom that, means so many different things. But for Lex, it means being able to be free to do what you want to do when you want to do it and not have to burden anyone else. And
quality life stuff. We can take for granted every day, little things.
Your diagnosis, the doctors told you that you were going to be a quadriplegic?
Right.
And so that means
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, that means you can't move your body below the neck, right?
Well, yeah, you might move your head. I had head and shoulder movement, and I can lift my arms up a little bit. But yeah, quadriplegic is cervical. It's the neck down. Where paraplegic is more from the middle, mid torso, or mainly just the legs.
Okay.
Yeah. I always joke with people. I always did everything big, so I wasn't just gonna be waist down. I had to be neck down.
Ariel, let me interject in this. The craziest thing about this.
You were there though.
Yeah, I was there the day it happened.
Yeah.
Tell us.
And Eric Watts, who's one of our closest friends, and at the time, Eric hated Lex. When he was in wrestling,
He wanted to beat me up.
he wanted to beat you up, and I mean, we waited a couple times to, and then years later,
I had talent back then of getting people's good side.
yeah, you're good. You know how to push the buttons. And bottom line is, Watts was telling me how Lex has found Christ and he's a completely different person. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? Never happened. That ain't happened without Lex. Because I remember when Sting was saved, he buried him. He goes, I'm telling you, it's true. I go, you hate him. Why? I love Lex, but you hated him. And he said, not anymore. He goes, actually, we're living together. And I was like, what? What are you're living with Lex?
Wow.
So there's a sample that it was the first time they did a signing with the UFC and all the wrestlers.
Yeah.
And it was at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. And I heard that Lex was going to be there. I didn't care. The money wasn't that great. I didn't care. I needed to see the new Lex. And then the promoter calls me up and he goes, DP, I just want you to know Lex is here, but I think he's had a heart attack. They had to kick the door down.
Wow.
So tell him when you were in the room and when you fell out of bed and you couldn't breathe, right?
Yeah, well, your breathing is compromised with a cervical injury. So I tried to move my head and shoulders to knock the phone off the hook or something. I don't know what that would have done, but I was panicking. I fell down to the floor and I was like in a metal suit with a bag that pulled me through the floor. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what I thought I was dehydrated or something.
He was dehydrated. Only Lex
I
Luger
thought I was dehydrated.
could be completely paralyzed.
Muscle function. And I was up against the nightstand with my chin tucked with compromised my breathing bars. So I literally thought I was going to suffocate.
So the EMT, and there's a man and a woman, they put him in a chair. That's when I see the door blown off the hinges because they kicked the door down.
The battering ram and that.
And Lex is sitting in a chair. He's like, hey, D, what are you doing here? I go, I came here to see you. I go, are you okay? I give him a hug, but I didn't really notice he didn't move.
I was drinking Gatorade thinking I'm dehydrated.
Lex says, sure, I'm good. I'm like,
wow.
And the EMT is, no, you're not.
I'm paralyzed from neck down. I'm good.
He's good. It's a true story, man.
Wow.
And the EMT goes, you have to go to the hospital. And Lex says, no hospital. I'm like, bro, I'm thinking it's a heart situation again, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, have to go. And he's like, well, you think so, D? I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, my hips. He was supposed to have hip surgery like a week later. Yeah, get both hips replaced. And
we're charging back in the ring.
Right. So bottom line is, he says, I can't really stand. And I said, I got you, bro. So me and the EMT picked him up, put him in the gurney, and off he went. I had no idea. So when he gets back to the Shepherd Spinal Center here in Atlanta, my business partner, Steve Hughes, the director of The Resurrection of Jake the Snake and anything like Butterbean's video, like all those ones.
Creative genius.
Yeah, he's an amazing storyteller and he cares. Like he can't help himself either. He cares. And we started filming with Lex 17 years ago when it happened. And so we're doing a documentary on it. And the reason why Lex came back to want to work with me again, because I only had floor stuff then. Now you can't tell me you can't do my workout. It starts in bed, then sitting in a chair, then using a chair.
I've been doing the bed workout every morning.
And he's done that now. But here's the beauty of this. You know how many people are in chairs right now that aren't paralyzed, but they're still in a chair? We filmed every video. We're going to start putting them up.
You don't use it, you lose it. If you start sitting too much.
Right.
We filmed them at every moment, because what I was doing was custom making this to what he could do as opposed to what he couldn't do. And then it moved to, I'd film it and send it to him. And by the next week or the week after, he'd come back and could do more. Right. And then he could do more. And then I said, try to stand up. And he went to stand up, and he could use the in the beginning, railing, get up a little bit, he'd sit back down, but eventually he could push himself off. And then I said to him that day, see if you could get up without touching anything. And he couldn't do it. And it got a little bummed out. I go, bro, no, this is good, because you're going to be able to do that. And we have it where you can't do it yet. And that's the biggest thing. I always say, if you say you can or you say you can't, you're right. It was Henry Ford who said that originally, that was quoted saying that. But mine is, if you have to say, I can't, say, I can't do it yet. Because it's the yet that makes it possible. And what we were going to do at the Hall of Fame, Lex, tell them the story going into the Hall of Fame. Drive on the way there.
We do our last workout. I'm doing the stand up with no hands. We're milking it. We got a whole thing worked out. I was going to walk across the stage with Dallas up to the podium, and come out in the chair, then walk across the stage. Uber driver drops my wife and I, Robin, off at the airport. She's getting out on the far side. The Uber guy rushed around to get my wheelchair at the airport. And when I went to turn to sit down, he panicked and moved the chair on me, and I landed on the sidewalk.
Oh, no.
A whole right leg went numb. I was buckling. So we had to call it audible at the last minute. We were hoping it would come around in time for the Hall of Fame the following night. But it was right before we went out, I told Dallas, what were you talking to Steve and Kevin?
I hear having a really fun conversation with Nash and Austin, and
I was try it right before we went out to make sure I could do it. And it was back to the restroom. It was a no-go.
And his adopted son, who is such a sweet, amazing kid. His name's Jonathan, and Jonathan goes, "Hey, D, Lexi's talking to you right now." I go, "Well, is it right now?" He goes, "No, now." I goes, "Is it? We good?" He goes, "No, I don't think so." I'm like, "Okay, look, boom, we run down there," and he was so worried about like disappointing me.
Disappoint you?
Oh, come on, man.
I was
so I said, I don't care. But I didn't care. It was like, dude, you know what? You're going to stand up there. You're going to do your talk, and that's going to blow everybody away. Like, don't worry about anything else. And of course,
to show up.
Of course, Lex being Lex stops about 4 or 5 feet from the stage or from the podium, and I'm like, dude, I go to put my arm around him, and he didn't remember saying this. I just reminded him. I go to put my arm around him. He goes, "Get your hands off me. I'm good. 50. I got this. Just give me your shoulder." I'm like, "Okay." And he walked up there, but you can see my hands were waiting to catch him in case anything spasm. Because when you have nerve damage, it's not like, and one of the guys I met him too, Joe Montana, someone who I bring in, one of my favorite quarterbacks ever. He's got a lot of nerve damage, and he was signing in Buffalo, of all places, that's where Lex is from. He was signing right across from me. So I walked over, I gave him my DB pack. I said, "I don't know how much I can help you, bro, but I know I can help you." And, he's like, "Thank you so much." He was a super class act, but someone had just said this to me over a Hall of Fame weekend that, I tell him all the time, "You should try DB yoga." Like, I would fly in to work with you.
Yeah, I bet.
You know what I mean? But the nerve damage is really, it's hard. It's really hard.
There was some concern when you weren't on the stage, Lex, on Saturday with the other Hall of Famers. Can you clear up why you weren't there?
It's wild how that stuff catches fire.
Yeah.
The guys knew I'm a 4 a.m.er now. And with all that happened at the injury and everything, the next day on Saturday, I could hardly get out of bed. So I just called the guys and they were so cool about it and said, look, we'd love to have you down there. Let's see how you feel later today. But it was obvious by late afternoon, that time that I wasn't going to be able to get out.
There was no
there.
way he could get out of bed.
So,
like what what a lot of guys don't realize is that, first of all, we're East Coast guys, right? So it's not even starting till 10 o'clock,
Right.
which is 1 a.m. for us. And Lex is at 9 o'clock off the bed. So
yeah, I just told my wife, guys, I can't.
It wasn't like he didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Did that bum you out? Was that a bummer, or the thrill of Friday and everything that you experienced there was enough for the weekend?
Oh, I was still basking in the, like I said, I still basking in the afterglow of
Okay.
Friday. Of course, Saturday would have been great, but I don't. Yeah, it was a no-go. So
when he shuts off, I mean, he shuts off that phone,
Yeah.
he shuts off everything because, it's
I could have, I would have. Yeah.
yeah, you would have been there. And for anybody not to think that, it's like, this has been a huge thrill. And I reached out to, when Jake Roberts, if you've never seen The Resurrection of Jake the Snake, it's on Amazon Prime. When I reached out to Paul Levesque, who, when I broke in as a manager in AWA, my next job was with Dusty, Florida Championship Wrestling. Then Dusty brought me into WCW. But at some point, they were like, he's basically too over the top for professional wrestling as a manager. And I start working. Well, when I start going that power plant every day, you know who's there with me? Terrorizing. Paul Levesque, Triple H. And so me and him became really good friends, man. So we, over the period, I remember Terry Taylor, we were at this restaurant somewhere, and he had gone into the restroom, and Terry Taylor said to me, he goes, I really like that kid. He's got your work ethic. I said, yeah, and his age. He was like 22. I was 36, and he had more experience than I did. But, I can't, I was going up to do the very best of Nitro, and I had, come by. We were supposed
to tell you when you were breaking in.
What?
Don't quit your daytime.
Yeah, Lex told me, don't quit your day job, bro.
Wow.
You're never gonna bet. I mean, Michael PSA
was
just
so
laughed in
angry.
my face. But with Jake, I'm doing the very best of Nitro, right? So I come in to film it, and me and Paul have a meeting afterwards, and I was like, "Hey, bro, I'm not saying I'm not crazy enough to say I'm gonna get Jake the Snake Roberts sober, but he's 60 days sober." And Scott. Scott just came in too, and I'm not saying either one of those guys I can get, but
What a duo.
just want to, right? I just want to put it on your radar. That's all. And then, we both know that following year, they both went in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And when it came down to Lex 2, I just let them know what we were doing. And just wanted to let you know I was working with him, man. And yeah, I kept him abreast as we went along this journey. And I mean,
the renovation specials, like off of the HDTV. All speed up old wrestlers.
Your resume, Lex, would certainly warrant being in the Hall of Fame long ago. And I've heard you talk about your mom every year before she passed. She would ask you, when are you going to get in? Are you going to get in? Do you think you're going to get in? When you would see the years go by and others who, no knock on them, maybe didn't have the resume, the accolades that you had amassed in your career, would it bum you out? Had you given up hope at this juncture that it would ever happen?
Well, I've been through in my life. I and where I'm at with my faith in the good Lord, I don't give up anything. There's a verse in the Bible where Jesus says, the disciples are asked him, said, well, humanly possible, that seems impossible. God, anything is possible. So I don't ever, yet, he just said,
Yep.
say yet, anything's possible, I believe, pretty much. But I just felt like, yeah, my resume was there. I don't know what criteria they chose each year. I thought maybe eventually it'd be a huge honor if I ever did. If I did, it didn't change maybe the accomplishment I had in the ring, maybe my outside of the ring stuff influenced me not getting in. I know there's consequences for decisions we make in life prior. I understood that. And if I didn't get in, maybe that was the reason. I didn't know for sure, but obviously, yeah, it was, my mom was so low key for her to ask me every year. I knew it meant something to her. She, so yeah, it was just thrilling to be able to get in this year. And you know, a lot of it, I call Dallas the drip special. Dripping Triple H all year long about I'm working with Lex and sending her little inside clips, right?
Yeah, I didn't show anybody but him.
So
because I wanted them to see.
I say even the Hall of Fame thing, a huge part of my mobility, increasing my quality of life with this guy. But I think at 2025, maybe or probably wouldn't have happened this year. Wasn't for T here. So
no, whatever. You know, the bottom line, it did. We're super grateful and grateful to the WWE for making it such a big thing, and you know, bringing Ben Brown and Triple H and you know, just the whole crew there. They put on a beautiful. I don't know if you got. I'm sure you did hear Triple H's induction, boy. Well, I love the way he started with his parents. I've met his dad before. Super guy. They were celebrating their 61st wedding anniversary as their son, which was all about, you know, bringing HBK and Taker, like those guys, and of course Nick Khan putting that all together. So that was just right, because a guy like Triple H, he would never have put him in he just wouldn't have done it. He wouldn't have put himself in. But those guys doing that and to be a part of that class, you know, very, very special. You know, Michelle Cool, Taker's wife, what a beautiful speech Taker had too, and about his wife, and then she came out, she just nailed it. It was beautiful. HBK made me laugh out loud a number of times. You know, everybody had a really good time there, and you know, it just, like I say, very, very late, even for me, and I'm a nightclub guy. And I didn't get to bed till 3:30 in the morning.
Which is like, but
6:30 in the morning, and I'm 69 now. It's not like I'm 49. You know, so
you look fantastic, still at 69, better than most of us. What's amazing about your story, Lex, is that it's not just the injury; it's everything before that as well. Everything that you've been through. I think forgive me for bringing it up, but it was like, and I say this only to let people know that they can turn their lives around too. 11 or 12 arrests, I think it was. Was it in that vicinity? Like you.
A really dark path for a while, making a lot of bad decisions.
Yeah, and it's just amazing, and unfortunately in pro wrestling we've seen a lot of people not get off the bad path and onto the right path and be in the position and in the state as far as happiness and gratitude that you are in now is concerned. Were you ever cognizant of the fact that you were going down the path of so many others and it appeared as though you weren't going to get off of it? Because it felt like, unfortunately, you were going to be another one of those examples. No one wanted that, but it just seemed like it was snowballing.
Yeah, I heard I was voted most likely to be the next wrestler found dead in a hotel somewhere. I read that one time back then, but you know, when you're going through it, you always think, well, I can, you know, it's my own body, I can do what I want with it. And I went down that path with drugs and alcohol and excess and really make a lot of bad decisions. I was a stubborn one, and I wouldn't listen to anybody. I wouldn't get the help. I always thought I could fix anything. I was always also a supremely confident, some say arrogant individual. And I was trying to change it.
Yeah.
And I had to really reach, here in terms of rock bottom, the end of your rope. I had to reach the point where I was in such a bad way. Miraculously, I didn't end up not making it, but I was at the point where I said, I can't fix this. I had to be God allowed me to be totally broken down. I had to get myself out of the way. When I got down on my knees, asked Jesus to become my Lord and Savior, I didn't have to be convinced. I was, Jesus, save me from myself.
Heavy.
Save me from myself.
I
I was at that point. I was at the breaking point. I was broken enough to look up rather than around and think I could fix it, because I was the problem.
I called Lex the cyborg because he could just go through anything. I remember one time, and I didn't get, they only gave us so much time to talk, but I wanted to tell the story about Lex. Like, I've worked out with Lex a number of times. My weight's nowhere near his weight that he's moving, but I spotted him one time, 405 pounds, ass to the floor. I didn't touch him till the 25th rep. Like, that's the kind of mindset that, like, and he took it everywhere, even when it was not a good place. He still took it there, and he could fix it. But there's sometimes you can't.
Unfortunately, my all-in attitude, some of our greatest strengths can be our greatest weaknesses. Right. It came to certain things that definitely went way down a bad path for sure.
I've also heard you say that you think it was, you had a big workout, you're on a flight, you're sitting awkwardly, and then it's just the next morning you find yourself in that hotel room. Is that actually what happened? Like, do doctors know exactly what happened to your body, where you could go from having an intense workout, seemingly healthy the day before, and then you end up essentially paralyzed the next day? How does that happen?
Yeah, I've been around world-renowned neurologists. They said that the intricacies of the human body God created are so immense that they'd only be guessing. Their best guess is they put in a category called transverse myelitis. And the world-renowned neurologist who worked with me at Shepherd Center, Dr. Bills, he said, Lex, that's the category we put spinal cord injuries in that we can't explain. He goes, you have an injury that was swelling, massive swelling from C5 down to T5. We took the x-rays. You had a little bit of stenosis. There's nothing there indicating why it happened. I think your theory about the plane may be plausible, may not. That's what I think happened. But he goes, it could have been a factor, maybe not. So they really, really don't know.
Wow.
You know, I don't know about you, Ariel, but if I'm looking here, I'm looking at Lex, and I turn and look to you like this, I'm not there for more than 30 seconds. Yeah. If you're standing there, I'll go, bro, move over here. Because our necks, think about it. You know, and
they took a beating.
Yeah, they took a beating, and you really don't really feel it till you get into your 50s. And then it's coming to your 60s, and I'm knocking on the door of 70, you know? So I'm constantly, and that's what DDP yoga comes from. That's where Power Cups comes from, being able to heal your body, because like nothing tastes better to me than feeling really good and not in pain. So
yeah, but you were using the ice bag therapy.
Yes, all that.
Body towards the end of his career. I were in the locker room. I used to make fun of him and say, "Look at Gumby over there with his yoga mat. Look, who got the last laugh on that one?"
Yes. No. For you, Diamond, do you wish that there was something in play? You know, like in the NFL, there's a sort of pension for the retired players, and I know WWE tries its best to help guys out, but you know, we've talked about what happens to guys later on in life, and how it's difficult when the music stops, so to speak. Do you wish that there was something a little bit more, a little bit more regimented in place to help people so that they don't go down a bad path post wrestling?
You know, I think it's first of all, everybody knows what they're getting into when they start this.
Yeah.
Like there's no one who doesn't know. You know, and all you gotta do is take that first bump to go, wow, this fake stuff hurts like hell.
Yeah, I had almost 5,000 matches. That's almost like 5,000 car races.
I would say I'd say like 25,000. Yeah. You know, like every match would be like 4 or 5 car accidents to normal person. You know, and I would believe at some point you will see. I mean, the WWE has made so many changes for the better over this last just couple of years. I think it's a program. Yeah, the Legends program, and what there's so much more recognition. I don't know what word I'm thinking. Those guys recognize a lot, and you got to remember who's a cat, who's one of us. Is like I always say, the biggest star in the world. Oh, he's a wrestler. His name is Dwayne Johnson. He's a Rock. Well, the biggest guy in control right now, who is Paul Levesque, AKA Triple H, is one of us. Like he'll always be. And I think that it's the program's getting better. Acknowledgement. Like there was a point where I'd go to see Cody. I think it was at Bad Blood. And the WWE had put out the thing, because a lot of these kids, they weren't even born when we were over, when we were having our run. So they don't know. So they literally put out a little paragraph on each one of us that they knew were coming in, and don't just say hello to them, walk up and thank them. So I think in time, I think things will continue in that direction, because the company is like, you look at the company now, I used to think,
well, they did the action figures,
right? Yeah, all the stuff. So they make sure that we're making money and stuff. We're getting our piece, so to speak. But I think overall, it's just going to get better and better. I forgot what I was going to say. Lex, I can't remember now. Knock that. Lex knocked it out of me.
Yeah. We can come back to it. Can I ask maybe a difficult one for you, Lex? Do you think if Vince McMahon was still around that you would have been inducted, or does he still hold any hard feelings towards you showing up on Nitro?
Oh, that would be a Vince McMahon question for sure.
Well,
that is best answer ever, bro. If I was with some of my other brothers, I would have go, dope, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, but Lex knew exactly how to.
He's a pro. I would, It's never like when I hear some guys talking about, these kids today, blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking, dude, what these kids today are unbelievable. It's like the game continues to change, and they're one of the reasons why I believe that these kids, because I know quite a few of them, and they're straight edge, meaning you don't drink, you don't do pills, you're not getting high, they're straight edge, so their body is healing faster, and they're literally supermen and superwomen. But it never. I always look at some of my buddies who might have said something about someone, young superstar and wrestler. We were both at this point. Like, why would you even say that? Like, there's no reason to say that. It's like, let's keep positive attitude and, lead with example of how you'd want someone to talk about you. You know what I mean? Fair enough. I know he holds a grudge, so I didn't know if that was part of the reason why it took so long for you to get in. I did want to mention, I don't know if you know this, it's pretty obscure. 37 years ago today, Sting and some young man named Lex Luger defeated Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard to win the 1988 Jim Crockett Sr. Memorial Cup. How about that? 37 years ago. There you are.
Those two young lads.
How about that? Do you remember anything from this match, or was that way too early?
No, that was fabulous. My gosh, but Sting and I have had just an amazing relationship for almost 40 years now. So that was our first big deal we did together. The Crockett Cup kind of kicked off our careers, how they parallel each other, and our relationship as a friendship. So that's a great shot right there. Thanks for pulling that up.
And they had a great gym too, and a couple of them.
Oh yeah.
The main event. The
neck of the Southeast.
It really was phenomenal gyms, both of them.
You were introduced to a lot of us Northeast boys. I was a Northeast guy. I was from Montreal. So when you came to WWF, oh yeah, that's right. And I'm a big Bills fan. We have a lot in common.
Played for the Montreal Alouettes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I started my pro career up there.
Wow, how long?
Almost 3 seasons.
Wow, how about that? CFL.
I played the Grey Cup my rookie year up there.
Okay.
Edmonton Eskimos.
God, I mean, what a hell of a run.
Yeah.
When I met Karl Malone and we became buddies, they were playing Houston, and Charles Barkley grabbed me and pulled me in the locker room, and he's so funny. I love that cat. But him and Warren Moon were going back and forth, like, who's the better athlete? And those guys would be busting each other chops. So amazing. It's one of those times you wish you could go into the future, grab one of your phones and just film this because it was priceless. Who's the better at it? Warren Moon, what a hell of a career he had.
Oh, yeah.
All of them legends, just like you guys. The reason I bring that up is when you came over, first you were, I believe, the Narcissist, then you were the Total Package, the All-American, you slam Yokozuna, the Intrepid, all that stuff. Do you look? Everyone thought you were going to get the belt, right, at SummerSlam, and it ended up being the countout and whatnot.
It was never planned. If it was going to happen, it was going to be done at WrestleMania 10. So.
And why didn't it?
It was never SummerSlam.
Why didn't it happen?
At WrestleMania 10?
Yeah.
That would be another Vince McMahon.
Come on. You're stonewalling me here. If they made you go on a bus all across the country for like a whole summer, right?
Everybody thought maybe they should have put the belt on me there and then took it back off me. And if they wanted to rev it back up for WrestleMania, do it that way. Because when you get such a big push on something, it can be disappointing. But the guy who was a tour manager on the bus with me, the Lex Express, when he found out right before SummerSlam that I wasn't going to win the belt, he goes, I'm not a wrestling guy, but I'm a Hollywood guy. He goes, your career's over.
What?
Are you serious? Did he really say that?
He was wrong.
Did you prefer being the bad guy or the good guy, the heel or the face? Did you prefer the narcissist or the All-American?
Oh, I loved being a heel back then. Everybody said it came naturally.
Really?
What was he like? What was he like back then?
What's that?
Lex could be such a heel sometimes. Let me tell you.
I had a special gift of rubbing people the wrong way.
Lex, I can't remember where it came up, but he had just gone to. This is one of my fondest memories of just the Lex attitude of back then. And he said, my wife and I, we went to the Redneck Riviera. I go, Redneck Riviera? Where's that? He goes, oh, it's called Destin. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful resort. And the people are, and when they'd see me, from a distance, oh, hey, hi, Lex. And he goes, then the next time, day you see him, they're coming by, hey, Lex, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? And he goes, by the next time, they're sitting down next to me, wanting to have coffee with me. He goes, there's 4 degrees of celebrity. And do you remember this? 4 degrees of celebrity? And I go, 4 degrees? I go, what's the first one? He goes, well, when I play for Green Bay, can't remember which team you mentioned. He goes, you want to sign that autograph? You're anticipating that.
You're anonymous, and people start to recognize you. It's kind of neat.
Right. So I go, well, what's the next one? He goes, well, avoidance. You bag your clothes, you wear sunglasses, you wear a hat.
Be careful where you go because you're going to get kind of swarmed.
So he brings never look at anybody in the airport, never look at anybody in the eye. I go, what's the third one? He goes, that's where I am right now, recluse. He goes, never want to go to the mall.
No, there's a fourth though.
No, I know it's coming. He goes, I never want to go to the mall. Don't go to dinner. And then he goes, I go, well, what's number 4? He goes, well, it's a place we hope we never go, but we all get there at one point or another. I go, what is? He goes, aggression.
Oh.
I go, people come up and just heel on them.
So my buddy Larry at the time, I tell him, I go, this is amazing. We got to put it in a book. I love that. He goes, well, you forgot about the 5th one. I go, there's a 5th degree of celebrity? He goes, yeah. He goes, remember me? I used to be.
Ah, yes.
And unless you're Muhammad Ali, everybody gets that. You know what I mean?
Are you guys still, obviously I know that you were at the event recently in Atlanta, DDP, but do you still keep up with it? Do you like the product? Are you fans of the product? There's a lot to watch these days.
Yes. I mentor, a lot of guys, especially try to keep them with a positive attitude. There's a lot of guys out there that I love, Damian Priest, I'm the big, when Dominic Mysterio, remember, just go back a year or so when he had the incredible heat that he had, I said, I would put that. I'd put him with a guy like Kevin, big guy like Nash would be, right? And I said, I'd never beat that kid. I said, I'd put a freaking Intercontinental champ on him and just zoom with him. So when he went over, that was the biggest pop of the night.
Yep.
That kid went over, man, and I sent him a text saying, "Dude, we have the same birthday?" And I said, just keep doing what you're doing. Always stay, but when you go through the career, to me, it's like always stay humble. Keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars. Like I just loved seeing him. Get that moment because that's a WrestleMania moment right there.
Oh, it was amazing.
And then I've got so many. Karrion Kross. I think Karrion Kross is one of the most talented. His beautiful wife. I mean, they're a great team together. I think like that kid I see like at some point like really like getting that break the
bench is deep. They got a lot.
That really is. I read Drew McIntyre. Jey Uso. I mean, I was so happy for Jey Uso when he what a moment, and Gunther. I mean, there's so much great talent there, and these cats know how to promo. They know how to work the crowd. As you go up that ladder, you'll still see big bumps, but you won't see the bumps because those cats are telling a story. They're like Roman Reigns. Like he'll be, I was sitting outside Cody's bus because he was off doing something yesterday, and as Roman walked by with his people, I went, "Yo, Roman." He goes, "Hey, D." Got up, give him a hug. He goes, "I love what you're doing with the boys." He goes, "I'm not quite there yet, but that kid's a thoroughbred, man."
Yeah.
Actually did DDP yoga with me back when I didn't know him at the time, but he played for Georgia Tech.
Wow.
And he used to work with Georgia Tech all the time. Me and Yoga Doc. Yeah.
Lex, when there might be some new fans that don't remember or weren't around or weren't born when you were in your prime. If someone wanted to maybe after this go watch your favorite match, the apex of your career, what's a match or two, a moment or two that comes to mind?
Well, more obscure one was a tag match with the Steiner brothers and Sting and I.
Always.
One of my favorites. And one of like match of the year. Obviously, the Slam on Intrepid was huge with 627-pound Yokozuna. And then the 100th Nitro, when Hogan put the strap on me, giving up in the torture rack with the whole NWO coming down and had me fight the whole gang off.
I was there. I was there with you at the end, brother.
Yeah.
It's friggin' so cool.
I never heard in my career, for me, a response like that night in Detroit was special.
Yeah.
And I told the guys earlier that I was a guy who wrestled, wasn't a wrestling fan. And I didn't get the fans at all. When I was at my lowest moment, I said at the Hall of Fame, I ended up in a Walmart one time, the first time ever. Hey, man, those are our peeps. Walmart's places like regular, ordinary, everyday, hardworking people who love wrestling. And they showed me the kind of love when I felt at a point you asked me earlier about where I was at, where I felt worthless. I felt unlovable. And I didn't care if I woke up the next morning. Those fans embraced me when I walked in that Walmart. It was the biggest commotion and it gave me hope. So I've gone full circle or a 180 to not really being a fan of. My debut match was the match I was in. I never had gone to wrestling.
Wow.
People don't know that. So I didn't grow up watching wrestling. So I've become now a wrestling fan.
Great time.
But watching the unbelievable talent in the ring now. So it's amazing the transformation just in that aspect for me and my relationship with wrestling and the wrestling fans. Wrestling fans are special.
And now I remember what I was going to say. I thought it's never going to be better than it was in our day. I mean, because it was the Monday Night Wars, you grew up with it. It was so hot. It will never be bigger than that. And then this next evolution happens and Netflix takes it. Like, you're not looking down your nose. There's still people who do, but they look stupid. looking down your nose at wrestlers when the three of the biggest stars in the world are The Rock, John Cena, and Batista. Yeah, I mean, those guys really went out there and really like knocked it out of the park, and the whole Netflix deal.
Now, baby.
What?
We're mainstream now.
We are, bro. And you know what? And I was looking like the General was insurance, one of those big insurance companies. I go to my wife, Paige, I go, look around this entire building. The General is everywhere, and it's one, one match after another. They're falling over each other to be advertising. If someone has a hot movie or a hot song, where they at? Oh, they're on Netflix with the WWE. We have been so copied. Like before the Nitros and the Raws with the explosions, NFL didn't do that. Watch an NFL game today. It's a wrestling show. And when I say wrestling, I mean sports entertainment.
Well, I think we make a special connection with the fans, our characters, our persona. And I believe, like when I was in jail for the last time, thankfully, I had this big tattooed up security guard, jail guard, break down crying because I was his dad's favorite wrestler and he wasn't with us anymore. I mean, I was at Mania this year. I had 10 people come up. You get it more than me, even with what you do, who cry about a memory they had with someone they watched when they were little, growing up watching wrestling with their dad or their grandfather or their uncle who's not here anymore. And it's and then they're in tears. There is a real connection, a personal connection I can't even explain between wrestling fans and the wrestlers. And it's really something very unique.
Yeah, and it's mainly, one of the biggest reasons I believe, besides we're exaggerations of ourselves, is because we're also in your living room. Like back when we were up, we were on every Monday, Thursday, Saturday morning, Sunday morning, and then Sunday night, once a month for a pay-per-view. And now Netflix is in front of, God, 300 million freaking subscribers. And it's still everywhere else too. So Peacock and all that, it's a very, very special bond.
Social media, that's all driven it to.
Right.
We're envy of social media.
100%.
The NFL is envious of our social media.
There's no better fans than wrestling fans. There just isn't. I mean, they care. They legitimately care about you.
Lex, what would you say to someone right now who maybe is going through a tough time, some of those tough times that you went through 10 years ago, or 12, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, who feels like there is zero light at the end of the tunnel, cannot see it, can't even fathom the state that you're in now, the happiness? I mean, I see you're in a constant state of smiling. Like, look, you seem healthy, you seem happy, you seem very content, and can't even wrap their head around that. What would be the message for someone like that?
I guess Dallas and I are kind of the same mindset. I guess, number one, don't ever give up hope. If you're still breathing, your heart's beating, there's hope. Number one. And number two, I just decided that I was going to be a windshield guy, not a rear view mirror guy. A friend told me there's a reason that rear view mirror is way smaller than the windshield. Stop looking at it all the time. So no matter what you've been through, what you've done, bad decisions you've made, or what's happened to you, either emotionally or physically, if we can put that behind us and keep our eyes on the horizon, keep on moving forward. I tell people a great quote from Martin Luther King Jr. was, if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. And I said I had to roll, even if it's in a wheelchair, but keep on moving forward. So don't keep on looking behind. Know if you're breathing, if your heart's beating, God's got a reason or purpose for you. He's got a plan for you, and just keep on moving forward.
Beautiful. Speaking.
Anyone can do that too, and I mean anyone. We are the 6-inch piece of real estate in between our ears. We are our inner voice.
Well, Winston Churchill said, "Never, never, never quit."
Never quit. Just keep moving forward, man. Because everybody can do it. You can own the story you tell yourself. You can own that. You just got to work at it.
What is your plan, DDP, for Lex? Like, ultimately, where do you want to see him? Are you guys joined forever? At some point, you let him fly and go on his own.
We'll always be joined forever. We'll always be joined forever, man. It was such a special spot, just like with me and Jake. And
I was the first guest at his new beach house.
I saw that. They got you a room, right?
Yeah, with a special ensuite with all ADA. Oh my gosh.
This
guy is something, man.
That's my wife, Paige.
Yeah.
She was like, because I was saying, listen, and I said, because when we were building it, and Steve and I were talking about, because Lex had said,
what a beach palace.
Wow. It's been a long time since I had my feet in the sand, like over 20 years.
Almost 20 years.
Yeah. So, Paige, we started talking about that, and she's like, we're going to make this ADA, right? Yeah. ADA room, and she goes, we're going to make it the beachfront. I go, perfect. So
it's the Lex Suite.
The Lex Suite. She calls each one of them beachy names, all over the world, because she's been all over the world, and it'll always be known as the Lex Suite, though.
I love it. You're one of the most impressive human beings that I've ever met, D, because like you are so inspirational, you are so selfless, and I feel like you could make a living just doing motivational speaking. It just is uplifting. I feel better about myself just speaking to you today, being in your virtual presence. And
out of the way.
I got to tell you, do you know my buddy Marlon Ransom?
Of course, yes.
So Marlon said, and this is his words, he goes, don't forget to tell people that they can get booked by me to get you out there, and you're doing corporate speaking. Yes,
I was setting you up for that right now. I was just setting you up for this. So what are you doing?
Oh God, it's just I speak on a bunch of different things, and it's really all wrapped around, living life at 90%, the concept being life's 10%, what happens to you, and 90% how you react to it. Like, again, I teach people, through my talks, through my story, like, what's your why? Like, a lot of people don't even understand what that means. Like, what's your why? Like, why are you doing this? If you go on DDP Yoga app, okay, it's go to ddpyoga.com if you go there, because we always got some kind of sale going. You'll never get on iTunes or Google, but if you go there and you try my thing for free for 7 days, the first thing you should do is the list. It's the very first little tile that we've got up on the app, and the very first thing when I take you to the list, the first thing is what's your why. Like, you have to know why you're doing something. You have to understand whether it's for your physical. It should always be about you and your physical health first. But a lot of people, for my kids or whatever the reason is, whatever it is, whatever makes you really start to, not just change your life, but own your life. And, then we get into SmackDown. Of course, that's my acronym: specific, measurable, achievable, compatible. K, keep it going, do it, own it, write it down now. And then I get into a lot of videos that are inspiring. That's what you want to really be around. We are the 5 people we hang out most with. And it's so important, to choose your friends, properly, because your friends can pick you up or your friends can pull you down. And I try to give people, like, as I go through my story, I don't just tell my story and I'll personalize it for every different company I go in to talk to, depending on what it is. But each one of them, I leave with that you can own this story you tell yourself, and I'd show you how to do it. It's not that hard, but a lot of people will say, well, I can't do this or I can't do that. You're right. Again, say yet at the end of it. I can't do it yet. And, I try to bring it. It's not just a mental state of mind. It's a physical state of mind. Like I say, I'm just turned 69 and I'm not training for 70. That's going to be your tomorrow. I'm training for 80, 90, and 100 plus. And if you talk to centurions, like people who are in their 90s and up, and you ask them, how are you still so cohesive? How are you this physical? How are you living this life? The first two things they're going to tell you is exercise and the food I put in my body. I don't care if you like RFK or not. I pray that RFK can do a third of the things that he's trying to do when it comes to like the food we put in our bodies. Like the food in our country sucks. Go to Italy, go to some places over in Europe. You know, the food is real food. And we've genetically changed our food. And ever since then,
so processed.
Yeah, it's so processed and garbage that, we have to change this. And I couldn't believe when I heard RFK talk about it. As far as the vaccine and stuff, I don't care about any of that. I didn't take it, but that's just me. But I don't care what you do with that vaccine thing, but I care about the food. Because the food can help heal us. It can also slowly kill us. And because the very first thing that I do, like you come to and you spend any time with me, you eat the way I eat, which is gluten-free, dairy-free, GMO-free, organic. I eat real food. And the first time I stopped just gluten, and people made fun of it for years. Well, 25 years later, it's still going. And more people are like just gluten sensitive. Like I don't have the celiac, thank God, which means when the food goes into your stomach starts leaking. If you put gluten and wheat in your stomach and you're celiac, it leaks through your stomach. Think about that. Okay, so I don't have that. But what it does affect is the joints. And that's where I care. I still got my own knees, my own hips, my own shoulders. That's my goal, to keep them. And how do you keep yourself in that kind of shape? You try to stay away from inflammation. Number one inflammation, sugar. Then wheat, then dairy. Those are your top three right there. And I'm talking about cow dairy. Now, and you'll see me, if I'm in France, I will eat the cow cheese. It's a different animal. So again, it's just making people aware. And that's what the list does. I don't tell you, don't eat this or don't eat that. On the list, I've got a movie up there that you should watch called Food Inc. I believe it won the Oscar in 2007. The next one is Genetic Roulette. The next one is GMO. OMG. Just watch those three and just take out what you want from it. Anything sometimes, when Jake and Scott moved in with me, they didn't have a choice. Everything was healthy. Oh, but it tastes great. Like on our DDP Yoga Now app, we have 3 different eating plans that are 90 days that break it all down for you on 3 different levels. So you see, I want people to make it as easy as they can. And if you don't have to do it the way I'm doing it, but make it your own. Like lower a knee, step into my workouts, and we'll eat this and eat that. And if you want to have a cheat, do what you want to do. Because the people who get clean and start eating clean food, that's what my brother calls it, clean food. When you start eating clean food and you put the shit back in there that you used to eat, you're going to get sick. Now, that should be some kind of clue. But most people, bro, they want to keep their head in the sand. And I'm okay with that too. Because if there's 1,000 people there and I reach 1 or 2 or 3 of those people, my work is good.
Well, I'm listening to you here now. I think the key for you and your success has been, he just gave us a lot of information, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could have all the information in the world, but if you don't have a why, like you started out with, how to apply it and really wanting to apply it to your life, it's not going to matter. And I always had a mentor told me, Lex, it's not the wind that matters, meaning the direction of the wind. We're going to have many times winds of adversity, in our life. We all know that. But we do have a choice over the set of the sail. So my mentor always told me before he passed away, Lex, it's not the wind, it's the set of the sail. So we can get all this information, all this great app,
Right.
but you got to have a why and want to apply it into our lives. And that's the key. And I think that's the gift that you have, is motivating people to get started, take those baby steps,
Right.
and then get to the point where you're at an advanced level with the knowledge.
Sure.
Step one, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Right? So start out, baby steps, and it's an amazing program. It really is.
Well, this has been wonderful. So happy to see both of you thriving in your own way, and to see this partnership, and to see you get your flowers, Lex, and to see you there by his side on Friday. DDP was fitting, and there was no one else that should have been there by his side other than you. So congratulations, Lex, on finally getting into the Hall of Fame. Congratulations on an incredible career, and most importantly, congratulations on turning your life around, and all the work that you've been doing to get back on your feet, quite literally, has been amazing to see. And of course, once again, congratulations to you, DDP. It's great that we were able to reconnect. I was going through old photos at my parents' house just a couple of days ago, and I sent you one from WrestleMania 18 in 2002, 23 years ago. There I am, young Ariel, with the great Diamond Dallas Page and Lillian Garcia. Just a bushy-tailed, wide-eyed wrestling mark, a fan, getting a chance to take a picture with a legend like you. Thank you for being so kind then and now. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Oh, before you go, I remember my first interview with you too, and where you were just starting out and you were starting these interviews with guys, and how it went from wrestling and then it went into UFC, and then doing both, and then you were interviewing all sorts of people. Let me ask you a question: Do you work out?
I do work out, yes.
Please come to and you tell me what your schedule looks like.
Yes.
Come do
Look out.
DDP's Gauntlet.
And
it's something I do once a month.
Where is it?
It's down in my place. You'll have a room on the beach.
Got it all.
You can bring your girl with you. You can stay for a couple of days if you want. What we do is I don't really consider it an interview. It's more of a conversation, and we talk about just what's happening in whoever's life that happens to be with me, and then we go through the gauntlet. And the gauntlet is, I've got 2 cold plunges.
Oh God.
So you can talk to each other when you're in it. Then I get into walking backwards to help the knees. You have to push the treadmill yourself. Doesn't move by itself. You've got to make it go. But we're also oxygen, and my oxygen level, like right now, everybody's breathing 20-21%. I'm around 8%, which means like 22,000 feet. The other person could be anywhere from, maybe 18 or 15% oxygen. And just so you can feel what it feels like to take that away. And then we're going to boost it. And now we're going to shoot that oxygen into your body. That's, all coming through, your mask. And it doesn't just heal you at a cellular level. It breaks up into your brain blood barrier. And the reason why I don't look at things that people tell me, oh, that works. If it works for me, though, then I'm going to tell you about it. And the biggest thing that with that oxygen training I do is that my memory is so much better. Like when I came back, I remember what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You walk into a room and you forget why you're there. I was doing that all the time until I started this. And I didn't notice a difference till about 3 or 4 months into it, because everything comes down to doses, like how often you do something. Reps. It's all about reps. Repetition is the mother of learning. But then I started to realize, wow, I've been walked into a room and forgot, why am I here? So I started keeping a journal. The most I've gone is 34 days. I just screwed up the other day and couldn't remember. I was 22 days in. Because when your brain, because all this, everything, this body that God gave us means nothing without your brain. It means nothing without having your memories are who you are. And so I go from that to the mat, from the mat to power cups, cool down on the mat, then hang upside down in a yoga swing, which is the most unbelievable, feeling of stretching out your spine. So I would love to have you come down, bro.
Thank you.
And like I
I
say,
would love to be there.
bring your girl or whatever, and we'll set it up through Marlon.
I don't know if we're to end with stretching his spine. That kind of makes me cringe a little bit.
It's actually amazing. Again, Paige turned me on to that. She is my person. And the food will be incredible. It'll be healthy, and taste great.
Thank you. I appreciate that invitation, and I would love to come, and we will try our best to make it happen, sincerely. For now, though, we say goodbye. Thank you so much to the both of you. Congrats, Lex. Congrats, DDP, on everything you are doing, and it was a great privilege to have you guys on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, bro.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
There he is, the new Hall of Famer, 2025 class, Lex Luger, the total package, the narcissist, the All-American. What a career, and the one and only Diamond Dallas Page. In a few minutes' time, we will be joined by Marlon Vera, who competes in just a few days, in a few weeks, in New Jersey. Right now, over in London, they are doing the grand arrivals for the big Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr. fight going down this Saturday at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. There's Conor Benn with a beard. It's coming in thick. They love to do the grand arrivals. They do them big. Ooh, this looks it's almost like fashion show-esque, right? It's a little red carpet.
It's very red carpety, yeah.
Yeah.
Just wait.
I fucks with it. No, I fucks with it.
Ah,
there he is.
We got the mink.
There may not be. He is a classic wrestling heel / babyface in that, like, everything about him is heelish, but the people are 100% supporting him, and he has been able to connect with people. Like, I see all the comments are like, "I've never wanted a fighter to win more. I've never wanted a fighter
than Chris."
Yes.
I mean, the paying the athletes from the
what a move!
Is
yes,
real heel / babyface behavior.
Yeah, he did. I saw
it's
that.
Such a nice gesture, but he's also doing it to stick it to him a little bit.
Stick it to the man,
perfect.
But he's sticking it to the man. He's a lone wolf. And there you have Ben Shalom and Eddie Hearn. Eddie puffing his chest out there, or what? What is he doing? Is he flexing? What's happening?
Absolutely puffing the chest.
What's going on there, Eddie?
Which
He's trying to get another men's health cover.
What's going on? Is he what is happening over there? He looks great. So the anticipation building. People, it's amazing to see the turnaround, because there was a time where people despised Chris Eubank Jr. and they felt like he was just sort of, like he was getting all his fame, all his opportunities, nepo baby, right? Like, because of his dad. And now to see the people finally turn in his favor, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like his dad is going to be a part of it. Just a few days ago, his father, the great Chris Eubank Sr., did a whole bunch of media. He was at some sort of event in the park. There was a ton of media there, and he kind of went in hard. And as I was watching it, it sort of broke my heart. It made me so sad because of the things that Junior has said to us recently about his dad. And I'm like, man, I can't imagine what it's like hearing your father say these things about you. And this whole fight came about because of his father's history with Conor's father's history. Them two coming together, Nigel Benn and Chris Sr., and the two fights that they had and the rivalry that they had. And obviously Nigel's a big part of Conor's life, and Senior isn't a part of Junior's life. Do we have the clip? At least a portion of it?
Junior,
Here it is.
you're smashing an egg against this guy's face. I taught you that. I didn't teach you that. Who taught you that? Did Karen teach you that? Who taught you that? That's disgraceful. I'm gonna stand in your corner. You must be mad. You must be mad. I would never be in your corner. You're a disgrace. You're smashing an egg in someone's face, and then you're trying to justify it. There's no justification for that. There's nothing noble about that.
Damn. That's hard to see. You're a disgrace, calling his son that. I don't know. I understand. Like, it's a tough one. You don't like to see that. It's one thing to sell a fight. It's one thing to have a rivalry with your opponent. But this is a father and a son, and a father and a son who were very close for many years. Senior was in his son's corner, trained him, and who knows if this has anything to do with the fact that Junior went off and started training with other people. Who knows? Who knows what really happened? But it's just it's heartbreaking, and it doesn't feel right that he's not a part of this fight, because the only reason why this fight is happening, the only reason why there is any sort of appetite for this fight is because of the history between the fathers. And obviously now there's a whole new layer of intrigue because of the failed tests, all the stuff that happened in 22. But the only reason why the fight was happening back then was because of the fathers. And so to see just one father involved and the other saying things like this has to be tough. Has to be tough for the young man, for Junior. I feel for him. But this is all part of perhaps why the people are behind him so much. I think they feel for him in this regard. I think they feel like, you know, Conor is the bad guy, Eddie is the bad guy, and Chris has now taken on this persona of being the lone wolf who will do it without his dad, without a team. He's up there by himself at the press conference. He's taking on all comers. He's taking on Eddie Hearn. He's taking on Frank Warren. He's taking on Conor Benn. He's taking on the British public. They don't love me. They never supported me. And in doing all of that and in saying all of that, the people start to support you. It's a funny thing. Our conversation with him back in October was one of my favorites, and then the follow-up just a couple of weeks ago was really great as well. He's a very eloquent, thoughtful, cerebral kind of guy. Later in the day, we'll talk to Eddie Hearn at around 5:05 Eastern on the Ariel Helwani program on the DAZN Boxing YouTube channel about this and some other stuff as well. What is going on with him and Shakur Stevenson? All kinds of stuff. Never a dull time, never a dull moment in the world of boxing. So looking forward to that. Looking forward in a matter of moments, hopefully in speaking to the great Chito Vera. We always enjoy speaking to him. We thought we were going to get him back in there in early May in Des Moines. Instead, it's here in the tri-state area, which may be better for him because I know he loves this part of the world so very much. It's not exactly New York City. It is Newark, New Jersey, but it's close enough. He returns to action against Mario Bautista, and he's kind enough to join us right now. Is he there? Is Chito there? Yeah, there he is. My man. How are you, Chito? How's it going?
Good, brother. Happy, healthy, and I'm excited to be back, man. I'm very excited to be back.
Why aren't you fighting in Des Moines?
I mean, I guess it's more up to the UFC. They asked me if we could change the date, and you know, I'm a great employee and I love this game. So I say, well, I mean, a little extra time to train, a little extra time to prepare. And I would say the best thing about the date change is like, I'll be able to be on my son's first communion on May 3rd, which was the same day of the fight. And you know, and then besides that, it's all good. I mean, I was pretty down for May 3rd. I was like losing my weight. I was like, sparring, everything was like that. Then we kind of like, you know, take a little bit the foot off the gas, and now we got a new date, so it's all good.
Okay. Were you going to miss your son's communion for the fight?
Well, because he wanted to do it, so I told my wife, you can, I mean, it's kind of like fucked up to choose to come to my fight or go. But
Yeah.
I'm like, if you feel comfortable staying with Nacho, go for, you know, I'll be just fine. If not, we can have the grandmas stay. But I think it's better if the whole family goes, right? I mean, you don't do the first communion all the time. So everything happened for a reason, and you know, now we are gonna play part of it. So that's pretty cool.
When they offered you Bautista, what did you think? Were you into this fight?
Oh, 100%, man. That's a guy coming off 7 wins. That's a guy that no one haven't figured it out besides Trev Jones, and That's a tough fight, man. I mean, if you look at the top 15 or the top five, that's probably the toughest fight. And I'm here for a reason, and this is another chance for me to prove myself and go in there and put a clinic on a guy like this. So I'm excited. I've been training so hard, and I'm ready to go, man. This is a big opportunity for me to remind the division what I'm about to do and where I'm going from here.
I love this. I love hearing this. Can I ask about just the state of your confidence? Obviously, it's been a bit of a rough patch, the 2 fights in a row that you have dropped, and now here you are saying all these great things, which sounds tremendous. How are you feeling about yourself and the state of your career as you head into this fight?
The way I see it is like this: 2024 was pretty bad year for me. It's no secret, our lives are very public. I got the fight of my life, fell short for the title. Then I was almost on an urgency on just getting on the winning column, and I was like, let's go. I wasn't planning on fight that year till November. Like when the fight was over, Dana called me in the Miley fight, and he asked me like, "Hey, how are you? Great show, blah blah blah. You're tough. All these good things. And we have a good conversation through FaceTime." And I said like, "Hey, the only thing I'm gonna ask you is, I wanna come back on the New York card. I don't wanna. I wanna take some time off. I wanna rebuild myself, and I wanna, be able to fight in November, almost just like nothing has happened." He said, "Yes, sure." But then I get offered the fight in Abu Dhabi, and first I said like, no, 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 I'm not fighting. But then the point was, it was a good fight. I mean, in terms of like former champion, the guy was doing good in the division, and fuck, I just play a victim of my own self. I get too excited. I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. And I mean, I always take the high road. I don't like to regret my decisions because there's always a lesson in every failure. So I'm like, you know what? It's okay. There's a lot I learned about myself, and I take the rest of the year of full-time training. I didn't get the foot of the gas, and eventually I get to a good rhythm again. My heart was happy, my soul was stable, and I always plan on that, on just keep making sure my head is in the right space and I can figure things out. I give time to my family. I had a trip to Ecuador, see my family, and do some work stuff, and now I'm back, and now I feel like I have rebuilt myself, and the only time and way to figure it out is getting back in there and see what I can do.
So this quote unquote time off was something that you planned. You want, because there was some talk about, okay, how long are you going to take off because of the quick turnaround in August? In the end, it's going to be almost a year. It's going to be 10 months in between fights for you. Did this happen organically, or is this something that you said? You said, don't come to me with a fight. Give me some time.
I mean, I'm always seeing things around, looking around, but it was just well played. I mean, me and Perillo are very close, and we talk a lot about planning and what we can do and how we can get better, and everything takes time. And I felt like this was a needed time for me, because think about it. I headlined 3 times in a row. Then I took few months. Then I fought Munoz. Then I fought for the belt. Like, it's like in my whole career, it's been pretty busy. Like I'm in the UFC since 2014. Never declined a fight. Never missed weight. Always there. So at some point, you kind of like let the candle burn a little bit, and more importantly, it's your mind. My body's always strong. Like, I'm running crazy miles. I'm in the gym. I'm sparring in the off season. I'm always doing something. I'm grappling, but you have to learn how to respect your body a little bit, and know when, train a lot, but not have the pressure of a fight. Like, that's a different animal, and especially in the stage that I am right now, like every fight of mine is a big fight. So it just everything is just work out the way that should work out, and I feel like what doesn't kill you make you stronger, and I feel good. I feel good right now.
When you talk about your soul feeling happy and things like that, how do you get to that point?
I mean, you just gotta dig deep in yourself and find what's really makes you happy. See the real drive behind what you're doing, and really staying away from the noise, because there's so much distractions out there for every athlete. So I just try to lock myself into my small circle. Um, you know, don't fuck around. And it's not like I have ever been a drinker or a partier, but there's little things that pull you away from just eat, breathe, dream, fighting, and for the last 8, 9, 10 months, it's all I've been doing, and I'm always consistent. But I mean, I guess you just need a little time more in between, and I feel good now. Like I always say, I'm never been the guy that come with excuses or plan excuses or have a plan B. You know, I'm just on it the whole time, and this time in between fights has helped me to like rebuild that, like to like just be healthy and keep on going.
Now, what about Cheeto Vera, the model? Because I've been seeing you pop up as a model. I see you walking the runway, Paris Fashion Week, right? I mean, look at you in Nordstrom here. What is going on here? I mean, look at this guy. Look at this. Look at this. This is something. How did this all come
I
together?
I I mean, my friend Willie Chavarria, he invited me to my first show in New York, um, like a year ago, and they hit my email and said, "Hey, Willie would like to have you in the Runaway show," and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." So I went to New York for something else, and then we met up, and really cool guy. He has an amazing brand, and then when they invited me for Paris, I was like, "Fuck, this is kind of like the big deal," but you know, it's cool. It's cool. You get to meet great people. You get to like have just know different things out there, and it's something so easy to do. I mean, walking. If I'm running 13, 16 miles every week, and I mean, walk for 5 minutes can be too hard, right?
I thought maybe Luke Rockhold got you into it.
Uh, I mean, not really, but he's where is that guy? He's somewhere around here.
Oh, well, okay.
But
I mean, he was
he's
one of
the
the first guys to make the transition. You remember?
He's a Reno, yeah, he's a Reno model from the UFC, and I mean, we are together every day. We have a good scenery going up in my gym, and it's just like friends and family there. Like it's not a gym up into the public. It's Parillo is in charge of whatever we do, and I just make sure I build something where we can focus on fighting. Like no corporate bullshit, no fat guys on a suit telling us what to do. Just fighting, training, and grinding. If I want to wrestle at 8 p.m., the keys are ready to turn. You open the gym, turn the lights on, we scrap, and we go home. And it's probably one of the best things that I have done for my career.
You've been focusing a lot on the wrestling, right? The last time we spoke to you, I think, didn't you go out to train with Armin?
In my off season, I trained for a long time with Arman's people. Extremely high level guys. Maxine helped me a lot with. I mean, we're talking about day and night. Like those guys are like world class wrestlers, and when we wrestle, it's not even fun. It's like, but there's something he saw on me, and he's like, "Dude, you never gave up. I'm literally kicking your ass for like an hour, and you haven't asked for time off. You haven't like told me that's it." I'm like, "Dude, I would die here. So if you're a coach, you told me when to stop. You told me because I'm gonna keep trying until you told me that's enough." And I went there. That's in Glendale, by the way. So I have to drive there every morning, 5 in the morning, get there by 7, train, and I was coming home literally by noon. So it was like a lot. We will lift weights, train. So by the time I was ready to go back to do everything else, like I almost did that just to like beat up myself for those 2 losses in a way. And when Parillo was like, okay, now let's put everything together. Let's I think it's time for you to like do everything. I say, sounds good, coach. We went back to the gym and every day, and now you put wrestling one day, jiu-jitsu one day, lifting one day, running one day, and I will see Parillo every morning. And until now, everything is working good. I have another really high level wrestling guy, big name. He's coming soon to the gym, so
Who's that?
he's gonna be helping Roman Bravo Young.
Oh, yeah. From Penn State.
So he's gonna, yeah, Penn State guy. We talked yesterday. I said, like, hey, my boy Danny, who helped me with my wrestling, he coached me. And I guess they know each other, so they text. And I was like, I sent him my boys. I'm like, look, dude, I want to keep it real. If we spar, there's probably not much I will be able to do to you, but I want your mind to be in this camp. I want you to send pointers or like, hey, this is good. This is this is not very good, and that's how you get better. And then on the grappling part, the Mendes have been coaching me for many years, but lately it's been twice a week, every week. So I feel good with everything. I'm really pleased with the hard work is being done, and it felt good. Just because sometimes when you are from camp to camp, there's no time to like really learn. It's just time to like sharpen and go. So I have put in all the disciplines, separate for a long time, and for the last few months, it's been all camp for MMA, which I feel that's the best way to learn.
This is great, and I think fans of yours are going to be excited to see this version of you. I saw Mario Bautista did an interview with MMA Junkie and spoke about how you guys have the same manager. There's no animosity. You're not rivals or anything like that. But I did want to read you one quote that he said about the upcoming fight when asked about your renewed focus in wrestling. He said, "I don't see him changing too much. I think he'll try to fix some things to get to where he wants to be and to continue to do the things that win some fights, maybe work on some wrestling defense because that's been his Achilles heel the past few fights, but I don't see too much difference. I think once we start going, he's going to fall back into his usual habits."
I feel that goes for everybody, right? I mean, it's not like you go from Khabib to Pereira, right? I mean, that's not rocket science. So, but yeah, I mean, sure.
All right.
I mean, I'm not. I mean, I'm always training similar. Like, is he gonna strike with me? Is he gonna try to ping me in the cage? I mean, how much what we can change? But there's little adjustments in there that when you fight at the high level, you have to figure it out. When you have faced guys in the top 5 for a while, one point trick is not gonna work, right? So it's all about figuring it out, how to find those in between things that will expand your toolbox. But yeah.
Do you? I'm assuming you saw his fight against Jose Aldo.
Yeah, great fight.
Really? Because a lot of people hated that fight. Okay, I think you're being.
Of course.
Did you think Aldo won?
In the moment, I was like, yeah, Aldo got it. Because if we go with scorecards, what's the name of the guy that fought like 100 times in contender? The short, stocky black dude that is a fucking monster but doesn't punch too much. He just fought. I was doing commentary for his fight. 85er.
85 who doesn't punch too much?
Bro, no, like not at all.
Oh, Torres Finney.
Yeah. That guy controlled probably 100% of the fight, right? Takedown, hold, takedown, hold, takedown, hold. The other guy throw probably like 100 punches from in between, like nothing really that kills, but he's throwing. In regular eyes, that's a unanimous decision for the guy. Yes, boring fight. We don't like it, blah, blah, blah. We're not talking shit about this guy. We're talking about comparisons. That was a split decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
If that was a split decision, Aldo won his fight.
Mm.
And you tell me what you think about it.
Well, it's the question that came up in the Magomed Ankalaev Alex Pereira fight. It's like, just, the all the fights are different, but Pereira said that just, pressing up against the cage and not, it's ultimately damage, right? And so sometimes in a round, and it's tough, 4 minutes and 55 seconds of control, pressing up against the cage, clinch work should not be viewed as significantly as 10 seconds or 15 seconds of damage. You know what I mean? Even though one is inferior to the others, they always say damage is most important. And if there's no damage being inflicted, that has to take a back seat to the actual damage of a fight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the problem is the fighters. I really believe is the dinosaurs in charge of scoring. And I can hate a fighter for winning a decision people thought he didn't won. It is what it is. I mean,
sure.
That's not the fighter's fault. And going back to my fight, my opponent is a good grappler. Yes, I know that. Can he strike? Sure, he can. It's gonna be a tough fight, 100%. So I'm honestly focused on what I'm gonna do. I'm not focused on, I need to defend the takedown. Like, I'm just as good in the ground, so I'm not worried about if we end on the ground. Like, I grapple really every week with guys that are world champions. Like, AOJ probably has the best guys on my size, on my weight in the whole entire world. So I'm not tripping. Like, I just know I'm ready. Like, whatever it comes, if we end in the ground, amazing. If I defend every takedown, we need to fucking, go for broke, go. I'm preparing for most scenarios, and I feel good with the work we have been doing.
Merab O'Malley's on that card as well, as you know. Can I ask how you see that going down?
I mean, if you go basis on what we saw the first time, probably not much difference, just because what Bautista said, right? You're gonna fall back to what you already know. If O'Malley really was hurt and he couldn't punch and move the way he normally does, that can affect. Based on what Merab did to Umar, you say he's gonna do the same? I don't know. I don't fucking care. God bless for both of them, and the best guy might win. Like, I feel like everything is based on opinions, right? And
well, that's why I wanted your opinion.
I think it's a great fight. I think it's it's a great fight. A lot of people is crying that O'Malley don't deserve it, but
do you agree?
He lost he won the belt, defend the belt, lost it. Sure, they can give him a rematch. I mean, who else they can give him right now?
Right. That's my thing. My thing is, who's he leapfrogging? You know what I mean? Who should be really upset? There is no guy that should be really upset who feels like, there's obviously other people, but there's no obvious guy. He's the biggest name out there. He was just a champion. It doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't affect my life. So.
No, I know, but you're a fixture in that weight class. You've been there for a long time, and you have been tied to obviously O'Malley, and Merab is the man at the top of the bill. I did see that you were I think gifted a jersey, an Ecuadorian jersey, your own jersey. We have this photo here from was it from StockX or no? Is it
StreetX.
StreetX.
That's my own drop.
That's your own?
We did the two colorways from back in the day. That's like the vintage one, and people got very excited about it because that's like the old look, and I feel like they used to do really sick jerseys back in the day. I feel like now they're kind of like they lose a little bit like the cool on it. Like Japan used to have a sick one back in the day. Italy has a great one too, and like even the old Real Madrid ones, they were sick. So I feel like when I decide to do something like for my people, I went old school because I feel that's the best.
Yeah.
Cool.
And just a few days before your fight, Ecuador playing Brazil. Ecuador doing very well in World Cup qualifying. I don't know if you've been following.
Fuck yeah, I
Okay.
watch that shit. Ecuador right now has the best team that they have ever had, and now all those fucking youngsters are fucking playing in Chelsea. They're playing in big teams in the in Europe. A lot of guys play in Brazil. Like I feel like, I mean, call me delusional, but this team can win a World Cup.
The whole thing.
Mark my words. I believe so. I really like they have all these young guys playing at the highest level with the best technology, with the best coaches. Like now, it's not just like these older guys that they're really talented, but they didn't have the support. Like remember, like I mean, I always go back to Antonio Valencia, but when he went from Ecuador to Manchester, he become a fucking monster. Now all these guys are playing in teams like that, so they will become something special, and they're getting comfy now. They're not shy anymore. So these guys can do something huge, and I fucking love it. I really like the team that we have now, and I'm happy I had get to meet most of them, and I have the jerseys of them. I collect all the jerseys that I pretty much ask them like if I can get the jerseys that they play with, and I have them just like nice and full, and I just fucking put incense and fucking Palo Santa around.
I love it. I love it. By the way, this necklace here, what do you have here? These two things.
This is from my boy Chito International. Their protection. He's a graffiti guy that I'm a big fan of his artwork. I own a piece of him in my house, like an artwork of him, and I'm protected. I gotta keep my soul protect from bad intentions. So I'm always into the good intentions. So if you make these things for that kind of matters, I'm all in for.
I love it. I always love talking to you. It's a great privilege because you're a deep guy. I appreciate where you're coming from, and I appreciate everything that you believe in and stand for as well. So thank you for taking the time, Cheeto. Always great to catch up with you, and I'm happy that you're coming to these parts. I know you love fighting in New York, New Jersey. Maybe not as cool as New York, but it's pretty damn cool. It's pretty damn close.
It's goes. I'm born in another life in Queens, so
Yes,
I'm
Action will be there. It's very close for him, right?
Yeah. My people's gonna be there. My friends are gonna be there, and I'm excited to put on a show and get back to the top 5. And I feel like 2025 is gonna be a good year for me.
I love it, and I look forward to it. Thank you, Cheeto. All the best to you.
Thank you, bro.
Appreciate it. Oh, and by the way, I want to say the Cheeto Vera podcast on YouTube right now. I know you don't do a lot of these, but you're doing great things on your YouTube channel, the Cheeto Vera podcast. There it is. Go subscribe. Yeah, look at you doing your thing. Much respect.
Yeah, thank you, bro. I honestly, for me, I'm just calling out my own friends or people that I'm intrigued about it, and it's just like I don't even, it's just having a
It's
conversation.
a fun
with people
thing.
that
Yeah, I know. You don't really promote it much.
I don't at all.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it for the love of it, and I get to talk to people I'm interested in, and when I will ever think that Tony Hawk will be on my podcast, or Brian Cullen, or like Wes Lang, you know what I'm saying? Like I like art, fighting, and extreme sports, so I had like really good skateboarders, and I just get to talk to people that I'm a fan of, or I just simple like what they do.
I love it. Keep it up, my man. Much respect.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Talk to you
Appreciate
soon. There he is, the great Marlon Cheeto Vera, the pride of Ecuador. So great to have him. And speaking of jerseys, by the way, I wanted to mention we were going to have Bam Bam Tuivasa in studio last week. You may have seen he was in America. He was at WrestleMania. He was in, I think he was in LA. Could be wrong. Definitely in New York. But unfortunately, it was the week that we were away. He's got his Bam Bam buds. Shout out. Thank you. Thank you, Ty. Thank you, Yaniv, his business partner. Look at this. He gave us all jerseys. Now, did he give us?
And bucket hats, bro.
Yo, I got the bucket hat right here. You got the bucket hat? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys all got jerseys too?
Bam Bam Buds, baby. And we got a
Yeah.
grinder. Keith Trey in the grinder too. Shout out.
What's? Oh, look at that. That is sick.
Why are we all 18 though?
Okay, so my theory as to why we're 18 is because either it started in 2018, probably not. His business partner, Yaniv, great guy, in the Jewish religion, 18 is chai, which means life. And so I think he chose 18 as a...
The high life.
Yeah, sort of, kind of, as a, as a symbolic number, if you will. I hate to tell you guys, my head is cut off here, the framing. No, I'm just kidding. But this is great. Good for him. Bam Bam Buds, Tuivasa doing his thing. I was so bummed because we had been talking since January about him coming into the studio. How rare is it that Bam Bam from Perth, right, comes all the way? Is he from Perth? No, he's from. No, I think he's from Perth.
The area, bro.
Peoria.
Nah, he's from the area.
Yeah, the area. But what is the actual area? I think it is Perth. No, or is that JDM?
All I know is he's
from
got
the area.
He's from the area.
He's got the thing.
West something.
Yeah. Anyway, tremendous stuff. Appreciate them very much. Thank you. And the grinder, what is that for?
That's an app.
Oh, it's an app. Okay. All right, cool. Also, I wanted to give a shout out to our friends over at Swingington. Did I get this correct? Swingington Family Estate in Portugal. On Air Jordan was there.
Smithington. It's called, the place is called Grams.
What did I say?
Swingington.
I don't know why. It's clearly spelled Smigington.
Smithington.
Where's the H?
Listen, this is what they told me.
Symington. Anyway.
Symington, yes.
Symington.
All right, so Symington.
We're both wrong.
Yeah, you know it happens.
What is Symington?
They are the family that owns the port place that I went to with my family in Porto. It's called Grams, delicious port. And a friend of the program hit me up and said to stop by.
Oh, look at this. He wrote us a beautiful letter. He's rocking the honorees. What's this young man's name? Is it Felipe?
Philippe.
Philippe. Shout out to Philippe. Obrigado, Philippe. And parabéns. A mensch. And wrote us such a beautiful letter. How was Portugal? I've only been there once. I've been to Lagos once back in 2005. I've not been to Porto. Did you enjoy your time?
Yeah, it was a great time. Family time. Beautiful country. Good food. Really good pastries. If you guys have ever had a pastel de nata, it's unbelievable. It's a little pastry with some custard in it.
Okay.
Delicious.
Sounds great.
So a lot of family time. In honor of my dad's 70th birthday, and it turns out my parents' 40th anniversary. Just found out this week.
Oh, wow. Wait, you just found out this week?
Yeah, they were like, our 40th anniversary is in June. We're also going to celebrate that. I said, oh, thanks for the heads up.
Okay, you knew it was their anniversary. You just didn't know. You had no idea when their anniversary was?
It's in my phone. It alerts me day before.
Got it. They can't really spring this upon you, right? I mean,
it's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. It's ultimately great that you went on the trip. I felt you were due, for a vacation.
It had been a couple days.
Yeah, it had been a couple days. So I'm happy that you were able to do that. We have a hard out 350, so we have to get to that.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. Ariel Helwani program. We have a lot to discuss with the likes of...
There's only a couple.
Okay, here we go.
Charger starts off with San Diego.
We've got 38 seconds.
My home away from home.
Oh, yeah.
I'm from Tucson, Arizona.
Tucson, Arizona. Shout out.
Eric writes in, I know the boys don't like soundboard suggestions, but we need Pizzi's laugh in rotation.
Couldn't agree more.
Eric, we're not doing that.
Okay.
We have Pizzi to deliver the laughs.
That's fair. That's fair. Was that it?
That was it.
You interrupted my goodbye for that? No, those were great ones. Those were great ones. Appreciate those gentlemen very, very much. All right. We do have to go and get ready for our second show. Some people say we shortchange you on a Tuesday. I mean,
who the fuck is we?
Yeah, like in what other universe
Ariel.
are we 2 hours and 50 minutes where that is considered shortchanging? And then we're doing another show that's usually around 80 to 90 minutes. And then, of course, another. Tomorrow on the program, We are going to be joined by several individuals. I can tell you that our good friend Joe Hendry is going to be on to talk about his WrestleMania debut. Smilin' Sam Alvey is going to be on to talk about his upcoming battle against one Tyrone Spong in Karate Combat, others as well. So stay tuned for that. And of course, we are inching closer to the big April 26th weekend. FA Cup, NFL Draft, Pujanovsky against Eddie Hall, Ben Eubank, Praches, Machado Gary. That's a pretty great Saturday, if you ask me. Not to mention NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, etc., etc. Where will I be, though? Where am I going? I'm going somewhere. I know that. I'm going somewhere. Tomorrow, I shall reveal where I'm going, what I'm attending, what I will be doing. It's big not only for me, it's big for all of us. So stay tuned for that. For now, though, we say goodbye. Mystery guest did not come through. I'm happy I didn't promote him. Thank you very much, Diamond Dallas Page. Thank you, Lex Luger. Thank you, Cheeto Vera. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to all of them. Back on Wednesday. Same time. Peace.